We interrupt this program with a special report.
I got a message for all you folks out there in Radio Land. So sit tight and bend an ear.
Welcome to the Manga Monday Show Spooky Edition. Ooh, happy Halloween. My name's Ben and I'm with my co-host.
That's not my name. It's Edgar and welcome.
Yeah.
It's spooky season.
Hey, tomorrow it's not.
Well, hey, Day of the Dead. I mean,
Yes.
vibes. It's scary, you know.
Dias
de los Muertos.
Yes, yeah. It was really great. One of my friends brought over some food, which is nice. For some a Day of the Dead, which was nice. The good food was really good.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, it was
yeah,
really
it's
nice.
great. I forgot what we make. My
Yeah.
mom made it last year because she put up a shrine, but I forgot. I don't know what the food was. I think it's some bread and something else. I can't remember. All Mexicans will be like, "How can you forget?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't celebrate it." They do it heavily, but my mom was like getting into it last year, so she
Okay.
might do it again this year again. But yeah, it is spooky season. This is like
I was fully expecting that intro to just be me and for you to be like, "What are you doing?"
I knew I was like I had a feeling we were gonna like do some like weird Halloween
Yeah.
vibes.
Yeah.
But other than like Halloween's like a really good time. I love horror. Like
Horror's
I
great.
watch like horror movies like around like Halloween time
Yeah.
and like anything horror related. I listen like I watch like I don't know. Real crime, I like scary story podcasts or whatever. I just love it. And in this episode, we got something special for you guys, manga readers, anime, all alike, and tied within the horror theme of today. But let's get straight into what we've been up to this week, Ben.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. This week, I've been doing the same thing that I do last week, making videos, drawing, writing. I've actually been in a bit of a rut with drawing and writing. It's just been really difficult recently. I've been in this really bad cycle that I need to get out of where if I wake up too late in the day or I do something during the day, I'm like, I don't want to work. I want to relax, you know.
Yeah.
But I just need to get out of that and just continue to do it. So I'm challenging myself to get my next one shot done before the end of October, which is a lot of work. But
Deadlocked,
I'm gonna,
right?
Yes, deadlocked.
Nice.
Really exciting, really fun. But yeah, other than that, just watching some stuff. I've really just been fawning over House of the Dragon.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I don't know.
It's done now. Yeah.
It is finitoed, which we'll talk about later.
Ugh. 2 years, right?
2 years,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
I guess my guess is it's gonna be like a year and a half or
I'd
a
say
year and 2 months.
Read the book, but it's like not the same.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll find out what happens, but it's not
Yeah.
the same. Like as
We'll talk about that
Yeah.
because we actually have a big discussion topic about people who think they know better than the great writers of the show, at least so far.
Oh, that happens with like every fandom at some point. You know,
Yeah,
that
but this is-
misunderstand- No, I know.
But this
I know,
was really
I
bad.
know this one really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, anything else?
No, I actually. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. I read 20 chapters of Black Clover yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And
How'd it
I have been. I don't know. Recently, I've just been like. It's the reason why I actually haven't been reading too much manga. Like I finished reading Vagabond, and it was just so great that I was like, now I got to go back to Black Clover. You know,
Which is Black Clover fans.
Yeah, I know.
It's
So-
just
I
like the
know.
way you read manga is like, I mean, it's not the wrong way, but the way I do it is also the opposite in an extremity that is also not good. To where I read too many to be caught up, but you like you like pick with one or two, and then you like until you finish or catch up.
Well, but
like,
and I'm also I'm a long reader, so I look at panels for a long. Like I look at panels. Like I caught myself last night looking at a panel for 30 minutes, and I was like, oh, I need to stop this. Like I was like, I'm never gonna finish I'm never gonna finish this manga.
Even with
if I
Black Clover,
continue.
does that happen? Often?
Yes, and like I said, with Vagabond was top 5 mangas I've ever read, and Black Clover is still good. But this arc for Black Clover, really nice. Really enjoy. I think this is the arc that's making me enjoy Black Clover. I really enjoy this arc. The art for one of the chapters, I wish I had the specific number. It was 130, 100 and something.
It's during the Grand Wizard selection.
Yes.
The Royal Knight selection tournament.
Yes. That was such a good arc, and I just finished it because they're now talking about this raid that's about to happen.
Oh, so you finished the tournament arc?
Yeah.
Okay.
The turning arc.
And now it's I forgot what the name was. I feel like it's a spoiler, but it's that moment with Asta stopping Finral's younger brother. Yeah, like the moment,
younger brother.
Yeah. Like, and then Locke like all ganging up on him is like, we'll kill you. Like, such
Yeah,
a good moment.
that
in
was
the anime,
really
I was
good.
like, oh, that was like
Yeah.
actually like really good.
That was
like,
really good, and this was like, yeah, it was really good. So now I'm warming up to it.
Yeah.
However, if it takes like a manga to get me invested in 130 chapters, it's probably not a good sign.
You
but still,
have
you know.
no right to complain when I'm reading One Piece
Hey,
300 in, and I'm like, I'm not vibing
Hey.
with this, yo.
Yeah, I know, but but
If you, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna tell you this because like of all that you said for Black Clover, if you do not, you might just like ignore me because you've had before. Like literally, if you read this arc and if you're not into it, just completely drop it. Like,
yeah,
do yourself a favor
well, no,
and don't.
I'm halfway through now. I'm just gonna.
No,
finish it.
no,
But
no.
I'm reading.
I
I'm
can't
reading
keep
a
hearing
lot.
this.
I'm reading a
I
lot.
can't
I'm
keep
getting
hearing this.
20. I'm getting 20 chapters a night, so I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting to that point.
But
where
by
it's
the end
like
of this arc,
I'm building it up. Yeah,
If by the end of this arc, this new one that
Yeah.
you're in, if you don't like it by the end of it,
yeah.
drop it.
Because I hear Black Clover, like where it is right now, is really good.
Yeah.
and I think that's really exciting.
But this
for
arc
me,
is like
you know.
peak
Black Clover.
peak Black Clover
Okay.
to what I've watched. and
Good.
read.
Then it might get me to a point like how I was with Marineford for one, where I was reading 50 chapters.
Don't
a night,
but don't
you know?
compare it to that.
Well, of course, I'm not comparing it at all, but I'm comparing it to like how I felt when I
Yeah.
was just, it's a page turner. That's what I
But
mean.
a strong suggestion: if you do not like it, just you won't be You won't be. It won't sell it. Not
Okay,
much
okay,
will sell you much on it.
that's fair. And I
Yeah.
know that we have some Black Clover fans who listen because ever since we've done our Black Clover review, we've had one person just like dislike all of our videos.
I mean, yeah.
Since then, but I mean, it's their opinion, and we trash Black Clover. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm really enjoying it right now, so it is really great.
That's good.
Sorry, you can't drop One Piece now. By the way,
I'm not going to because of how one thing that's driving me is I want to know why it's so good.
Yeah.
2, you can't read 300 chapters and drop it. Like you can't.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to drop it, I should have done it like an Alabasta or something.
Was this what you have you talked about this on the podcast? The guy on the Reddit who like.
Yeah, I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it the last episode.
Oh
like,
yeah.
where he couldn't get through Skypiea, so he started it like 4 different times, and he's like, it's my 5th time. I'm gonna start over again, and if I can't get past Skypiea, I'm officially
Just
dropping
watch
it.
like Totally Not Mark's recaps, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you need to do.
But I mean, it's like, and also 3.
Yeah.
I want to have that validation of critiquing something
Mhm.
in a non-aggressive way, because some people will do it for the meme or be actually serious. I'm gonna watch it just to say it sucks. I'm not going with that mentality.
Just to call it mid-piece.
But like,
yeah.
I would like to have that conversation eventually. One, to finish a big 3 or catch up with the big 3. That's a great accomplishment to have.
That is a great accomplishment.
But also to be like, hey, I don't like something, and here's why. I've actually read it, and like people will actually take me seriously. At least I hope. But that is what I have. But I do want to enjoy it. I want to get into it.
Yeah,
so
dude. I think it's such a huge plus.
I cannot drop it. Like even if I wanted to.
Well, now
like,
you can't because.
No, I literally can't.
Well, no, you literally can't now because I'm gonna make you read it because our highest view video is now And our most popular video is now our hour-long park review.
I think also on
yeah.
the podcast, this was the most listened to episode really quick. Like
really?
it had the
Yeah.
most listens in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Really good. Thank you guys so much for
Yeah.
that. But yeah,
The thing that went viral last week got 500,000 views this week, which is crazy.
yeah, the
Crazy.
reel that we were talking on Instagram got like 500 like million views and like 50,000.
Yeah, it's still rising.
50,000 likes
Mhm.
and a bunch of comments. It was fun.
Yeah.
Other than that, reading Black Clover, anything else?
No, that's it. What about you? What's up with you?
Nothing much. I've just been watching horror movies lately. I just watched Ouija, Origin of Evil.
Waluigi?
Really? No, Ouija.
Oh, okay.
Ouija, like the Ouija board.
Oh, like the Ouija board.
It was
Okay,
directed
okay.
by Mike Flanagan. Love that guy. Ever since I watched Doctor Sleep, I watch Doctor Sleep and The Shining like once every year, and I think I just might read the books too, because like I just love those stories so much, and I love horror. And that's probably what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna be watching a bunch of horror films because that's like my vibe.
Mhm.
And I've been reading a lot of Hunter x Hunter to catch up. I
Mhm.
haven't caught up yet. Like it's because I've just been enjoying the story too much. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd feel this again. I haven't like watched like it's different now when you like watch an anime and then pick up the manga.
Yeah.
But like I watched the anime and stopped like in the summer of 2019 when I got really into
To
it.
be honest, if you're caught up, Hunter x Hunter is so big and its return is such a big thing. If you want to record like just a little reaction video, like 5-10 minutes, and just talking about the new chapter,
Yeah.
go for it, man. I think this is why this channel and why you should subscribe and this podcast is so unique, because we are huge anime fans. It's what we want to do for a living whenever it comes to dubbing or writing light novels or living in Japan. It's what we want to do. But like we haven't seen a lot of this stuff, right? I haven't seen any Hunter x Hunter content because I just don't want to see it until I read it whole. I haven't read Naruto, Bleach. You haven't read Bleach. You've only kind of dabbled in Naruto.
Yeah, like 70
you know?
episodes. Like,
Yeah, you still have the original Dragon Ball to look forward to.
might
you
not
know,
touch it.
you might not exactly, but it's like if we get to a point like
we still
this
have
will,
the OG
yeah.
stuff that like you
Mhm.
know, like that we
Fist
haven't
of
touched.
the North Star we haven't touched. You know, these
you
are
haven't
big-
seen Death Note? And
Yeah, I
Full
haven't
Metal
seen
Alchemist?
Death Note, Full Metal
It
Alchemist.
still boggles
Thi-
my mind that you have not seen those series.
I'm waiting for us to get to a point. I want us to get to a point where we can like live stream on our own channels where we have that stuff, and then we can like do streamathons where we like read it. And
No, but you
stuff.
have to
that'd
like
be
watch it just for
great.
your own benefit, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
like,
I have to watch it. Oh, for Full Metal?
either one.
Either
I
one, yeah.
you can. It's like 50-50
Okay.
on Death Note. I think it's. I would only suggest it heavily because if it's one of those dubs that is actually better than the sub, if not the same.
Yeah.
And those are like few that you should like, especially as a dub voice actor yourself, that would want to see like, you know, what's the peak, like what's, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
what's like, you should like know like what it sounds like at least. I mean, you could just
Yeah.
watch clips and a few episodes, but that one is like a great series. Madhouse did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And then Full Metal Alchemist is just I think
It's
everyone
the go,
agrees. That
yeah.
I don't know anyone. I mean, don't call me out on this, but I mean, I get the feeling that everyone who's read Full Metal Alchemist has either only watched it or has watched it and then read it. But most people
Yeah.
just watch it because.
Yeah.
Not saying that the manga isn't any bad, but I feel like most people would agree that everything about it's like Bones' finest work, and it's their
Yeah.
best anime to date.
Yeah, yeah, dude. It's crazy because there's just so much stuff, and we're such big fans. Because usually, if you make channels like this and you want to do this for, a
You would
living,
have already,
you've,
like,
you've
seen
seen all
it,
that
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, you grew up with that stuff, but we just haven't.
Yeah.
You know, we joined in.
We're still in
you
it.
know? Yeah, like
Yeah.
the only anime I watched or read as a kid was Dragon Ball and Yu Yu Hakusho, and that was it. And then the thing that pulled me in was My Hero Academia, then Mob, and then I just kind of stayed with this modern day anime stuff, you know, and we
Yeah.
haven't really touched those big
Well,
things
the
in
big
past,
three
yeah.
are explainable because they're just long, like
Yeah,
really long.
yeah.
So,
mean-
but everything else is like, you know, pretty much like
Yeah.
if it catches your interest and if you happen to
Yeah.
stumble upon it, you'll watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, all three of them are still are technically still
one
going.
one way
you
or,
know?
or yeah, one way or another.
Yeah.
Boruto doesn't count.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I hear that
some people would
Bleach-
count it, but like I wouldn't. Like
I hear that Bleach is really good, man.
Yeah.
Like 1,000 Year Blood War.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I hear it's getting an amazing adaptation.
Yeah, which is what it deserves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, what I've been doing,
Nice.
Hunter x Hunter, it's great, but nothing. Just watching all the anime and the shows that we're about to talk about.
Good.
Speaking of shows, do you want to get straight into House of the Dragon?
Hot D. Hot D.
Won't return for another 2 years.
Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome everyone to our Hot D. I don't know. I don't know why I did that, but
I don't know.
House of the Dargan. It's
Hinga
over.
dinga durgan.
Hinga dinga durgan. But let's start with this. Edgar, if you told me a couple months ago that I would be fully immersed, fully realized back into this world, like it's what I think about daily, I would not have. I would have.
If you told me that
yeah.
Game of Thrones if a Game of Thrones series would be released and people would like it, I'd tell you to go back to Bizarro World, wherever
Yeah.
you came from,
I
because that
think-
doesn't exist.
Was it like 8 months ago when we saw like the pictures released, and it was
And we're like, yeah, this is not going to
and
work
we're like,
out.
this looks awful.
I mean,
Like,
everyone thought that for
Yeah.
the most part, because like it's synonymous that
Yeah.
that Game of Thrones failed, flopped in their face, that no one would want to touch it. No one would want to even talk about it because it fell out of the
Yeah.
zeitgeist so hard that like not even a fan base like the Last Jedi like fans,
Yeah.
as controversial as that was, people still watch that. People still talk about it because of. It's just
Yeah.
one way or another, it's still in the know.
Yeah,
and
and
Game of Thrones just fell out of it that we wanted to forget about it.
And it's also comes with the depression of the books might never be finished. So
Hey,
we
75%
might never get-
confirmed now. I mean, take it as you will. Like
yeah,
that's
so that
what George R. R.
means
Martin
we
meant.
got 5 years left. Awesome, great. Yeah, but I mean, I think that I was genuinely, I was more. What most of the reviews I see today or the other day that I've been looking at them has been, I was pleasantly surprised. I was more than pleasantly surprised in this. This brought me back in. This got me to reading all the books
It was a
again.
definite
This got me-
surprise.
Yeah, and
I
it
thought this
was-
wouldn't work, and I
Yeah.
thought this would fail, or people just wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, dude.
And it was the biggest HBO. No, was it? Is it H? It's either the biggest HBO audience viewership since the finale of Game of Thrones, or it's the biggest viewership since then. I don't know which one it was.
Either or, yeah.
But it managed to do ridiculous numbers during
Mhm.
NBA games and the Sunday Night Football happening,
Yeah.
which are pretty heavy to compete with. But
Yeah.
it did far better than we ever thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
It is fantastic. So we talked about every episode up until now. If you haven't caught up, watch the episodes, and then not only on the House of the Dragon, but like on our reviews with every, because we started
Yeah.
from episode 1, because like it's just that it just got our attention that much up until now. The final episode.
It's been a good 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Or 10 weeks. 10? Was it 10 or 8? I don't
10
remember.
episodes.
It was 10 episodes.
10
Yes,
episodes.
it was 10.
A double drop would be insane, but
Yeah.
it didn't happen.
No.
But before the episode even came out, it leaked.
Yes,
Ridiculously so.
It did. HBO, what are you doing?
What? I don't. I was like, I thought people were just getting
Yeah.
like still shots from like pictures from like behind
Yeah.
the scenes would be one thing, but like
Yeah.
people just leaked the entire episode. I'm like, how did that happen?
Yeah, and the thing with HBO leaks is that they are definite. Like once something leaks from HBO, it is what it is. Like
Yeah, they don't have the Toei animation dedication to like destroy whoever leaked it. You know what I mean?
But it's definite because it's like I remember episode 3 after the long night, there was a big leak in season 8, and it said Bran would become king, and I was like, what the? I was like, what is this?
It's just fanfic.
Yeah, exactly. I was
It's
like,
not
this is absurd.
real.
This is fake. And then
Yeah.
it followed it to the T, and I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
But before we start the episode, let's talk about something real quick. And I might actually clip this and make it into its own video, because it is not just important for House of the Dragon. It's very, very, very prevalent in all of anime and manga.
Any fan base really, and their misunderstanding of writing.
Reality, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Shipper's bad.
It's not.
Shipping is bad. I know it's not.
It's also
just,
standing.
It's
also
standing.
Like,
it is standing. Shipping and standing. They just don't. They don't get it. They don't understand writing. They just don't get it. If something is
dumb.
Yes. If something doesn't happen like within their wheelhouse, which is really what Game of Thrones is. Like, it's like, I saw this post that was like, listen, if you're this person, a shipper, a stanner, or a blah, 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 this Game of Thrones is not for you, and you're new, this is not for you. Because I bet you a lot of these people have come in and was like, oh, let's go, you know? Because Twitter nowadays, even though it wasn't that long ago, it's very different from how Season 8 Game of Thrones was, or especially when Game of Thrones first came out, you know? So it's very different. There's a lot more stans. There's a lot more people who find a character, and then that's their comfort character. And when their comfort character does something out of their comfort zone, they either block it out of their memory or blame it on the writers. And which I find so fascinating, how 360 they can get against writers. You know, like one episode they can be like, thank you guys for making Damon such an amazing character. And then the next episode they'd be like, oh my God, Matt Smith is the only person who understands his character. And I was like, but didn't they create the character? Like, isn't this like, didn't they?
He improvises one scene, and they think that he just wrote the entire character. It's like, you know what I mean?
They're like, I hope he's in the writer's room. And I'm like, bro, Matt Smith doesn't have time to be sitting in the writer's room. like that man is jumping from project to project. Saturdays he's performing at the Globe, but then Sundays he's performing Doctor Who. You know, he doesn't have time for that. It's absurd, and it also harkens back to My Hero Academia, like when people were sending death threats to Kohei Horikoshi
because
saying,
one thing didn't, you know, because Deku didn't look at Bakugo for longer than 2 seconds. Like,
it was like, or sending him stuff like, if this character doesn't end up with this character, then
it happened
like,
with Attack on Titan. Like if Eren and Mikasa don't get together, I will like burn your house down. I'm like, bro, calm down.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a story, dog.
Yeah,
and I think that's what
it's just a drawing, son. Calm down.
Calm down, son. It's just a drawing. And I think that's what a lot of these people don't understand. And George R.R. Martin had a really good quote where he was like, dude, we're just making stories. Like, calm down.
Can you imagine Shakespeare getting this? They both die in the end. Shakespeare, we're going to cancel you so hard.
No, these people would have gone like, oh my God, I ship Romeo and Mercutio. You know, they would have done that.
They would not be able to handle Greek and like Shakespeare theater back in the day.
Exactly.
Because of how tragic the stories were.
And
like,
it's absurd because these people, they go, it's so out of character. Didn't he like?
Isn't he like a war criminal and like maim civilians?
Let's talk about what's the first thing we see him do. He walks up to his city watch and he's like, "We're gonna go kill and murder all of these civilians, and we're gonna
cut up all the body parts, like
exactly. And I'm gonna be smiling while I'm doing it."
And you know, my brother's son stillbirth that just happened. Yeah, he was king for a day, and then I don't know, man. It's just and people like. And yes, he played that role perfectly so. Enough for you to enjoy him as a character.
Anybody other than Matt Smith. This doesn't happen. Anybody other than Matt Smith. But it's a perfect casting choice. This is what Damon, he has to be filled with this
snarky,
charisma.
I don't know. He's fantastic, but people take it to a level to where yes, they understand his character, what there is. Like, we're not calling people like blind to that, but it's like to a point to where he does something good, and then like all of a sudden he's like, oh, I can change him, or oh, he's a good person, even though like yes, he's a war criminal. People are like, yeah, they're both like killers and like whatever, like and then like if they do something uncomfortable or something not like, oh, he can kill 1,000 people, but if he like abuses women, he's like, you know,
exactly.
I
think that's because it's like nobody nowadays, at least that we know of, is killing like 1,000 humans. You know, unless you like in our
if it's too real or something like that. If it's
too real, I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Like him choking like his wife is like something that could happen nowadays. You know, like that control. It could happen. So people, they get all like, oh, he would never do this. Even though a couple episodes ago, when he came back as King of the Narrow Sea, he said that, yeah, you know, all those people who like who like served the crab feeder. Yeah, we fed them to the crabs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you forget this entire time that he is married to his niece.
That he groomed.
What is wrong with you people?
He groomed from episode 1, dude.
How is this someone that you can accurately say that,
Yeah.
no, he's a bad person because of this, but I'm going to ignore everything else, you know?
Yeah. And they say they don't want Damon to be gray. They want him to be pitch black. And as a gray character, he has to do some pitch black things. Otherwise, he's not a great character. You know, this is what I'm saying.
And
is
that's
that, yeah.
and that's only the like that's the tip of the iceberg because it is they obviously were supposed to like draw our attention and be empathetic
Yes.
more so to Team Black and to Rhaenyra and her
That's-
side.
And that's just how
And
it
that is,
is.
and
yeah.
that is and anyone can see that. But I was having trouble trying to figure out why this entire time I was like more like, well, you got to see it from the Greens' perspective, or you got to.
That's what I was trying to
and
do
why
too,
I was like,
yeah.
why do I keep like siding with Allison, even though I know that they're writing her from an antagonistic view? It's because everyone keeps shoving down my throat how much they're standing Team Black to the point to where I
Yeah.
want to see them fail. I'm like, that's why, because they keep putting them on, keep putting Rhaenyra on
Yeah.
a pedestal when they keep wanting to see all the bad in Allison and all her family. Yeah, are they monsters? Yes. You have
Yes.
Aegon, you have Aemon, who's hell bent on like starting war, and and justifiably he already did.
Yeah, but Alicent has good like reasons, you know, like she's like saying that these people like her children are, you know, bastards. It's not wrong. You know,
No.
like she's not incorrect. Even Vaemon Velaryon a couple episodes ago when he was like, no, I shouldn't. You like, yeah, you probably should inherit the Driftwood throne, but sadly, you know,
It went the wrong way.
yeah, but I still support Team Black, but it's still like
It's
yeah,
just
I
it's
feel
just
for
they
him,
just
you
want
know?
they just want one side to be completely perfect. Like
Exactly.
Like, oh, if they do anything, like they're perfect, and then
That's what I'm
then
saying.
anything that the Greens do is all because they're the bad guys,
Yeah,
100%,
they're the bad guys.
and they're supposed to stay that way.
Even though Aemond arguably might be, now that Viserys is gone, he might be one of the most interesting characters in the show. Like I really, really like his character, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about more about what happens in this episode.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. The way I started noticing this, Edgar, was all the way back when Avatar: The Last Airbender was airing, and people were saying
That was a while back.
Yeah, and people were saying the writing was awful because Katara and Zuko didn't get together.
That's
And-
like
and-
stupid.
Yeah, and they would say stuff like, "Oh, well, Aang and Katara's relationship wasn't built up," and that like nothing makes my blood vessels boil more.
Yeah.
Than
Is
like,
it that
you
deep?
know.
Probably no, but to say it wasn't built up is the stupidest thing.
that's
because
what I'm
literally
saying,
from the
yeah.
first episode, we know that Aang has feelings for Katara, and like
Yeah.
just it's
And-
so dumb. Like
Yeah, and to preface this, like we don't. If you think the writing is bad, that's fine. Like we're not here to police you on whether you think a show is bad. We're not here to police you whether you think like this person should get with this character,
or whether
I
you like it
ship,
or not. You know.
like that, like the episode 2 of My Hero Academia. I was like, oh yeah, I definitely ship Jiro and Kaminari. Like that's adorable.
But
you
if they
know?
don't end up
It's really
together, and
cute.
if we disagree with that choice,
Yeah.
that's where it stops.
That's
We're like,
fine,
oh,
yeah.
I don't like that, but I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do anything more.
The
than that.
issue is when it begins to be like when people begin to get angry at like the writers and the showrunners, and they say that they like ruined it, and it's like this big hubbub. When it's like, I loved when the episode aired. Like all that stuff stopped. Like
Yeah.
it was literally just praise.
It
for
was
the
just, it was.
episode,
I feel like
yeah.
the people who went out to the leaks were like the super not die hard, but you know what I mean. Like I don't know.
They weren't diehard of the story. They're the people who skip to the Damon parts and don't watch the rest.
Yeah.
You know,
And
These-
and
yeah.
that's also like not a good thing. Like, are you really a fan of the show if you're just gonna block out a scene?
Yeah.
Whether I mean, you can argue like, yeah, if there's a scene in like The Last Jedi that makes it bad, like that's like, it's not inherently the same. But if you're just gonna block out a scene, would you really like be able to like justifiably like
Yeah.
the show as a whole, or critique it like
Yeah.
poorly? If you're just gonna like ignore it that it never happened.
Yeah, man. That's like I think you hit the nail on the head with that.
Yeah.
It's just like, if this is what you're interested in, if you want to see black and white, if you want to see
A
good
romance
versus evil,
for some reason in the story that really isn't meant out to be.
But
like,
they're like, romance and love is a huge part of A Song of Ice and Fire. It is the reason why people do the love of a family member, the love for a loved one, the love of friendship. That stuff is the reason why all this stuff is happening. The love of a son, the love of a mother, the dedication to one another. It's the reason why this is happening.
but they want like Bachelor type reality
but it's
show.
not the show.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not the show.
Yeah.
The show is the consequences of those pursuits, which is why I think that characters like Laris is so interesting, because he's like, no, I don't have time for those love interests.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, let's get into the episode, and we can pinpoint some of the most more specific stuff that we liked. I guess the first thing we need to talk about is Rhaenyra's stillbirth. Really,
This show really, really is like the best pregnancy, like the best birth control ad I've ever seen.
yeah, that's what
Because
I'm
like
saying.
it's
dude.
like
Yeah.
they really like, hey, have you seen like the most awful like pregnant births ever? Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna do that like several times.
Yes.
Like, and I'm like gripped to my seat and I can't look away. Like,
I'm like, yeah, this is the worst. And just this idea of like, there's something in your body and you want it to just get out of you is just so horrific.
even like
bro.
the handmaidens and like were like, I'm pretty sure they've seen plenty of births before, and
Yeah,
they were like,
man.
just like watching a horror.
Yeah,
like it was a
dude.
horror scene. It was awful.
Yeah,
it was,
dude. It was a horror scene
It-
in the books, which I'm surprised that they didn't focus on this more. In the books, Rhaenyra's baby comes out scaly and like a dragon, kind of like how Daenerys's baby comes out in the first book, Game of Thrones, because it comes out all decrepit and kind of like half dragon, and it can't like breathe and be a proper human being.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same in this one. But yeah, it is a sad scene, and this is where people began to have issues. People were like,
why wasn't Damon
yeah,
there?
why
Like,
wasn't Damon there? But Damon is, you have to realize, Damon, I think that a lot of people were like, oh, Damon is completely different this episode. Yeah, maybe somebody starting a war against your family does that to you.
and your brother dying?
Yeah, that's what I'm like. The pressure of this. I have a really good quote. That was from. Did you read this? It was from Emma Darcy, and she was talking about the choking scene specifically. And she said Emma Darcy on Damon choking Rhaenyra, and she's put it perfectly. This is what good work and good actors do. They look at the facts and then they find the feelings in it. So she says, me and Matt talked about this scene a lot. We wanted to make sure we understood it intimately. That moment could be perceived as a huge change in their dynamic. In that scene, by the fireplace, two things happen at once. First, you have two characters who are grieving. Grief. That's a huge thing. That's a huge reason why these characters are doing what they're doing, And I think one might say that Damon is managing that grief less eloquently than Rhaenyra is.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think Damon has been violent to her before, although there's been a lot of conflict. But fundamentally, when Rhaenyra realizes Damon was never taught the prophecy, she suddenly gains legitimacy because she understood it was her. She was chosen for this. She begged him to show her what to do because she can't do it alone. And I think in this scene, she gets a message from beyond the grave, the moment that she understands that Damon wasn't chosen. Wow, it was never you. Simultaneously, Damon gets shafted from beyond the grave by his brother, the one he loves more than anybody in the show. On that one hand, he can say that he doesn't believe in prophecies, but he was never trusted to it anyway.
Yeah, people forget that the reason this entire story and show exists because they did not want Damon to be king, because he
Yeah.
was a psychopath and a murderer and completely unstable. That's literally why Viserys was like, nah, I'm gonna choose with my daughter, even though the entire kingdom might hate it or it might cause conflict later because of woman being like king or queen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Otto's big argument, like Otto's only goal in the first episode was get Damon out of the way.
Yeah.
And that might have been because Damon was strong-willed and he would have fought against him at court. But still, he said Damon would have been another Maegor or worse.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, he probably would have been.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, so that is completely on the nose. Damon is going through an extremely stressful period.
Yeah.
His wife is he probably doesn't want to get anywhere near her during pregnancy because his last wife died for pregnancy, and he doesn't want to face it.
Someone pointed that out because he did not want to have that choice again of like, what do you want to do? You want to kill her, or do you want to try to save the baby? And he probably didn't want to be in the room at all for that.
Yeah,
he didn't want to go through that at all. Like, and it just baffles me how people manage to read that entire thing and get it completely wrong. And one might say, well, you guys are getting it wrong. Well, I don't know. I mean, I mean, there's like denial, and then there's like a matter of opinion, and like, and it's just, and everything we've seen up to this point goes to prove what we're saying, and ignoring all that, the scene was like great in handling grief
towards
ways.
The end of this discussion. I'll talk a little bit more about, just real quick, about people saying and comparing stuff to the books, because it's making me really angry.
People were like pulling the book, expecting like, I'm pretty sure half the people who were on the opposite side who pulled out the book only like, quickly, how can I one line, oh, there you go, that can help me like defend my argument, when in reality I did not read the books at all. That's
what I'm saying, and I'll talk about that more, and it has a lot to do with the final scene. But yeah, and then we get this really cool scene where Damon's like, oh, good thing you're here, Prince. We need you and your dragon to like survey the skies. And he's like, did you not hear what I said? And Damon was like, okay, come with me. I'll show you the true meaning of loyalty. I got scared.
Yeah,
I was like,
I thought he was
gonna
hurt him or something.
Yeah, he was like, I'll show you the true meaning of loyalty. But it was an important, lesson. And even though Damon is kind of acting on willpower in this one, he is kind of, to be honest, he might have been right. If they acted sooner, if they decided sooner, if they sent like Luke or Jace off earlier, maybe they would have beaten Aemon there, and maybe Luke would still be alive.
These last 3 episodes were like a chicken game of sorts. Like, one could, like, Alicent could have ended the war if she killed and sent off like her armies to kill Rhaenyra right then and there, or something. Like, they could have ended the war in the previous episode, and Rhaenyra could have ended the war instantly in this episode. But they didn't, and it kind of like blew out of proportion.
Another problem that people had was when Rhaenyra said off to plot his war, and people are like, oh, they're making Rhaenyra just a good guy, and I'm like, no, they're making Rhaenyra like, she's like, I don't want to go to war yet. I want to survey my options, like a smart person.
he's starting a war, but there is no war yet. We have to like not.
There was no catalyst yet. It's all just talk right now.
Yeah.
There was no official decree. But yeah, and then of course the baby dies, and a moment where I teared up a little bit. Sir Eric. Or is it Arik? I don't know which one it is.
It was either Aaron or Eric, right?
It was Eric or Arik.
Arik.
Yeah.
I think it was Eric.
I think it was Eric too. But he shows up with Viserys' crown. What do you think of that moment?
Yeah, he snagged it. Good snag for that. But he gives it to Rhaenyra. Yeah. A really nice moment to prove his loyalty.
And he crowns her, which makes me think that he might be her Kingsguard. Lord Commander of the Kingsguard.
That'd be. Yeah. I thought. I mean, the other guy, he'll be returned with them, right? The one who.
I'll give you a little spoiler. Harold Westerling in the books, he is said in one line, and it's basically Harold Westerling exists, and everything that, and it's exciting because Harold Westerling in the show, everything that happens to him from beyond this point is new. It's I don't know about anything about.
So he might be there, or he might die, or might just disappear. But very nice moment. And I like this, and I like the moment where it shows Daemon holding the one thing that he wanted, but he steps down and he gives it to Rhaenyra.
I also think it was like he didn't realize Viserys was truly gone until he held that crown.
Yeah, that too.
And he was looking at the Targaryen sigil, which I love that crown, by the way, because the crown that Aegon II is wearing.
The Conqueror's crown, right?
It's the Conqueror's crown, yeah. And it's very blocky and black, like kind of a death,
red,
it's kind of like a grave, a tomb, but this one, it has all the houses, the great houses of Westeros' sigils on it. So it's a crown of unity. That's why Jaehaerys wore it, Viserys wore it. But Maegor the Cruel and Aegon the Conqueror wore the Conqueror's crown. So this is just an
Anyone who like did history in Westeros, looking at the crown, like, isn't that the crown that those two weird evil kings had? Like,
yeah. But they're still like, hey, that's cool. Yeah. But they weren't alive during that time.
No, I know, but like anyone who like read books, like, that's a bit sus of a crown.
So the crowd is probably like, Aegon the Conqueror, cool. What a cool name.
Yeah,
awesome.
History definitely doesn't repeat itself.
Yeah, exactly.
But the moment after that, I mean, we see Rhaenyra's like men and her like team, like, now. Like that was an official coronation of sorts,
and she's got
really
some
nice.
Kingsguard to her, which is great.
And apparently we'll be getting some more. Damon's like, hey, my boys are still over there. They're gonna come back to me whenever I call for them. Really nice.
I'm interested to see what happens with that, because that is like, I'm just like, oh yeah, he did create, like, episode 1 was so long ago, so he did create the gold cloak. So I wonder if they fully dedicated themselves to Otto, or if some of them will come running back.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But what's the scene right after this? Is it when they start plotting? Oh, the map.
Plotting.
We see the map, the really cool one.
Yes.
We saw it in the preview. I didn't know. I thought it was just lava, but they heated up or something.
They heated it up
and it's really cool.
Isn't it awesome?
Like yeah, it's like
we should buy it and get a D&D party.
Every D&D like party, like we gotta get that.
I would love to do a Westeros D&D campaign. That'd be awesome.
I can't get into D&D. I'm like, it's like a very impressive and yet intimidating and patient feat to do. Like it is, like, I feel like, and this is, and nerd is, I don't say nerd in a connotative way. I say it in a good way. I feel like D&D is like one of the most nerdiest things to do, because literally it is a game that you have to make up and really immerse yourself in. Like really immerse yourself in. Like and you have to build it bottom up. Like, and it's like really, like, I see like clips of like what's the biggest one? Critical Role. I see clips of it, and like
by far the biggest Twitch channel too. God, they're huge.
Yeah. And like Critical, it is like one of the biggest niche things too. I'm like, what? Matthew Mercer? What the heck? Other voice actors? I'm like, can I get into this? I'm like, oh, it's like D&D, and it's like really like
it's
long,
really intense,
and there's like a lot of episodes. And I saw like a clip, and he's like standing at the door is Vecna, and everyone's like, ah! I'm like, what's going on? What's going on right now? Like, am I supposed to be excited? And I'm like, wow, like they just make these stories and like just like make them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's just really impressive to where, I don't know. I've tried to get into D&D, but it's just like really hard to get into.
If we get to a point and we find like good people, like I would love to like work with other channels who like do that stuff and like work with them. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But obviously we're at only like 142.
Yeah, that table,
so we'll there,
buying that table is gonna be like a fortune.
But
you'll bet that someone will make it a replica of it.
God, I would just love to do because there's so much.
Even just the dining table of like Westeros, like that would be like cool.
Because I've watched some D&D campaigns where there are like wars and stuff. That is really fun and really cool. Like
it's like Battleship, but like more intense.
Yeah, but like it's literally free and stuff. It's so great. But you know, they talk about the great houses at this.
Yeah, I like how they start we're back on House of the Dragon now. I like how just like, you know, I like how they start like, oh, who's on our side? Oh, them, and Lannisters obviously no.
Lannister's been on the wrong side of history, which is why it's so fascinating that characters like Jaime and Tyrion at least have a little bit of, it's like they're trying to fight against their family legacy, you know.
And literally the ones who are always on the right side of history, the Starks, is like, we never knew a Stark was broken their oath. And I was like, Rob, I'm like, you know, but not in a wrong way, but you know, like.
But Rob also, like, I was thinking about this, but Rob also, he kept by breaking that oath, he kept his honor, and in the books, Jane Westerling's honor intact, because, you know, he had intercourse with her, and he had to marry her to keep his honor intact, you know. Yeah. So, in a way, he did kind of keep his oath in in the way of losing another, but still
in a
like,
very
it was,
obvious way, he got killed
Yeah.
for breaking
Yeah.
the one thing.
But still, to be honest,
Yeah.
Catelyn should be for blame for that, because that deal with awful deal.
Well, I mean,
Like,
what was it? It was like marry my daughters and we'll let you pass.
we'll let you go through instead of going around, which would have taken.
Oh,
like, an
then
extra
no,
day or
yeah.
two.
Oh,
Because they wanted to get to King's Landing as soon as possible to save Ned. But I mean,
yeah, that was a hefty thing. But then again,
Yeah.
when you make a
Song of
Yeah,
Ice and Fire
war.
is so good.
like, it's like one small
Yeah.
thing. It's like no one could have seen it coming. Like,
Yeah.
why kill? I mean, but also like, you made a promise. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
But this one is really important in
Yes.
terms of like what side you pick. You know what I mean? It's not just a matter
Yes.
of I pick one queen and like I'll call them king, or I'll pick one king and like there's. It's not like he's king of the north, so but they're at war.
Yeah.
You pick one side, you're gonna have to stick to it.
But it's also like, yeah, it's also like power grabs, because like as we see later in the episode, the Baratheons are like,
Yeah.
okay, what are you gonna give me? Like,
I really like this scene.
me too.
But let's. I want to get to it.
Move on.
What else happens?
Well, he says one of the lords, I believe it's Celtigar, who is awesome in the books, by the way. Celtigar is another house that comes from Old Valyria, but they're a lesser house, so the Valerians and Targaryens are like, oh, we're the only houses from Old Valyria, which is not true. House Celtigar is, and in the books, Lord Celtigar, he has this gigantic Valyrian axe that he uses, and apparently he like cut through 4 people at once and beheaded them with that gigantic Valyrian axe. It was awesome.
Him
He's
and Robert Baratheon would have been friends.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were, but because he in the books, Lord Celtigar worked with Stannis, so he was for them.
Nice.
But so one of them, I believe Lord Celtigar says, your house needs something that has not been seen since the days of Old Valyria, which is dragons.
Yeah, and they have a lot, but they only have a few grown ones, and then there's the young ones they have. But they do have a lot of eggs and a lot of hatchlings, to be given out. Maybe Lena will be given one as well.
Yeah.
Damon's daughter.
Daemon,
Lena's her name, right?
Yeah, Lena. Lena Velaryon.
Yeah, she's gonna be. She was the one that said that. She was the one that was supposed to, and I say supposed to with quotes on them because,
That's
dragons.
not really how dragons work.
Yeah, it's not like oh, this is my dad's car. He promised it to me, and then the second son got it. That's not how it works. They have to choose. They have to choose their owners, and people. And that was like another conversation that people were having and arguing over. Well, this is the dragon he stole. I'm like, yes. Is it awkward and not right to take the dragon on the close to the mother's death? Like,
Yes.
no. I mean, yes, but like he did not steal it.
Yeah.
Like, and it is a big dragon to risk. If he picked them, then what are you gonna do? Like,
Aemon's got the balls, man.
yeah.
But yeah, so that was interesting, and I love how Daemon was like, "Oh, we also have Meleys," and Rhaenys was like, Mela or something, whatever her name, and Rhaenys was like, "Oh no, you don't, not yet." Like she was like, "Well, hold up, like you don't got me yet. Like my husband hasn't said anything, But yeah, that was nice, and then Otto shows up, and Daemon's immediately in lethal mode.
Yeah, big parallel between between the previous. Was it the second episode or the third?
It was the second.
Second episode.
Second episode. Yeah.
Big parallel. Otto meets Daemon again at the bridge, and Rhaenyra comes, but no longer on Otto's side, on Daemon's side. Her side. Big. And I love how he says like, "Let's end this mama's farce now," and it's like the same line that Otto said.
Well, Otto says, the king would never lower himself to entertain such a mama's farce. That's the.
Then Daemon throws it back in his face.
Yeah.
Like, it's so great.
Yeah, there are some funny lines that Otto has said. Like, I think in episode 9 he said, "Or are you just another layer in this stinky onion?" And I was like, "What the heck?" I was like, "Why did he say that? Why did he say stinky onion? That's so funny." But and they like draw like the same way. The only difference was crispy Christmas wasn't there.
And Rhaenyra was like, "Hey, like let's stop," and then like Otto was like,
"Yeah."
It's like, and he That's a pretty good deal. Obviously, like, you know, they're not going to do it, and, like, we know what happens. But, like, considering the circumstances, that's a really good deal. Like, you know.
Yeah, because, like, Dragonstone has always been for the heir of the Iron Throne, because the heir, to learn how to rule, they go to Dragonstone and they learn at a specific age.
And then, like, we won't, like, everyone who sided with you will be pardoned. There'll be no bloodshed. Like, even will allow you to be, like, you know, cupbearers and, like, have important, like, positions and, like, the...
Which is interesting that Otto says that, because didn't in the last episode, didn't he, like, kill a whole bunch of lords who... didn't he already do that?
Yeah.
You know? Like, Beesbury's already dead, and that Lord, whatever his face, the bald one, he's already hanged. So I think...
but also Rainey's like killed like civilians.
That
and,
is
like,
true.
Yeah, like,
that is true. That's another thing that audiences are like, yes, Queen. I'm like,
when you talk about war and politics, it's like that's like not the way to like do it. Like it's like I did not want us to. You see, I mean, it's not now that I think about it, that moment is not as like a big plot hole as much as I think it is.
Yeah.
But like it wasn't 100% resolved because she says like this is your war to start, not mine. I'm like, you literally started it for them. Like, there's like no turning back now. They will either have to bend the knee or like there's you completely like.
That's. But I think that moment will be important for how this series ends. There's a big moment that's happening. I'll talk about a little bit more about that later. But yeah,
good deal. But they don't take it because Rhaenyra wants peace because Otto, you know, gives her the paper that Rhaenyra tore with.
It's a good throwback. Yeah.
Yeah. People were like, oh, too late. Oh, they're not gonna. Yeah. Oh, they're just gonna betray. Like, no.
I saw
Allison,
people who were like, "What is this, Riverdale?" and stuff, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, Otto using like the friendship of Rhaenyra and Alicent is such an Otto thing to do, and it's so like. He messes with your head, and that's what Otto does, you know?
Yeah. Does Alicent probably feel this feeling that she wishes she can go back and want them to be friends again? Yeah.
Yeah.
But Otto's like, it's great manipulation tactics, and like, and it has double meaning to it.
Yeah.
And people, it was great. And then the scene right after,
choke.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we talked about all the things with that, but it was a great scene to show you, even for those who like didn't agree with all the people who saw the leak we're talking about, it goes to show you, to remind you who Daemon really is as a person. Because
and it just goes to show that Rhaenyra is like Daemon is still just as dangerous as somebody like Aemond or
war
Aegon
hungry
is.
and like, you know,
exactly. And it shows her that maybe her closest ally isn't necessarily an ally.
Yeah.
You know. So I really think in reality, the person Rhaenyra can only trust, I believe, is her children, which is sad because half of them who can talk is gone.
Yeah,
you know.
So we go to the next scene that we see is Rhaenyra. They're wanting to send one. They need to speak to the Starks, to the Baratheons, and I forgot what the other ones were.
The Aarons of the Vale.
Aarons,
and she says
those are the only two like wild cards that they need to like reassure.
Well, she said the Aarons won't
turn away from their own kin.
Won't turn away because my mother was an Aaron.
Yeah, but they need to confirm it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then she sends Jace to Winterfell because Cregan, who is my favorite character outside of the main books, is the same age as Jace. So he's gonna go there and try to, get that bromance up there. And then Lena, I believe, is flying because she has Dreamfire.
Oh yeah,
and she's flying to the Tullys.
Wait, I thought Lena didn't have a dragon.
There's
one of them.
One of them doesn't. One of them has Dreamfire.
Yeah.
And one of them's flying to the Riverlands to talk to Lord Grover Tully, and his son Lord Kermit Tully.
This is the one with the Muppets.
This is the one with the Muppets. Yeah, I'm so excited.
Like the Muppet names.
They do not change that name. HBO, I will be furious. 0 out of 10 if you change the names. Anyway. The only acceptable substitution will be Big Bird Tully. Other than that, there is
that's gonna be way more obvious in the face.
Yeah, definitely.
And then obviously, what's his name? Joffrey goes to Jace.
Joffrey is the one who is younger.
Joffrey's the one.
Joffrey's the one who is much younger. Joffrey was the one who was born, who we saw.
Yeah,
born.
but Joffrey, he is taller than him, right?
No, Joffrey is like he's a little boy.
He's not.
Yeah.
Oh, there's two. Okay,
Yeah,
there's Jace, and then what was
There's
the other one?
Jace and Luke.
There you go, Lucerys. There you go. I thought there was only two still. But yeah, Lucerys, she stands to Storm's and
Because it's close. It's nearby. It's just around the corner.
I have never. This is the first time we've seen Storm's End, right?
Yes, in live action, it's the first. Even though
Very intimidating.
yeah,
Very cool.
even though we've had 3 Baratheon kings and we still haven't. But in the books, Storm's End was made by the like original king of the Stormlands before Aegon the Conqueror came, and the witches put a curse on him, and so no matter where he lived, many storms would come. So it would always be storming, and he would build his castle.
Oh, so
yeah.
the England, basically.
Yeah, basically. No, basically, that's basically what the Stormlands are. But the storm would come, destroy his castle, and he'd rebuild it over and over and over again. And his stubbornness made the castle an absolute fortification. So if you look closely at it, you'll see that it's actually the castle. It looks like a big middle finger to the storms, to the gods. It's a gigantic middle finger.
It looks
to the
really
gods.
cool. I'm like, this is like, I'm loving the like. I'm surprised we haven't seen it.
Which is great, because in Game of Thrones we got stuff like Casterly Rock, which is supposed to be as tall as the wall. And it looked like absolute crap in Game of Thrones. Highgarden and
maybe do you think they will do Casterly Rock in this one?
Yes, we are going to see Casterly Rock, and we'll probably be able to see Highgarden and Old Town.
But do you think they'll like redo the design? Like they'll make it look different?
Yes, 1,000,000,000%. Well, because the reason why I say yes is number one, the Storm's End thing, and number two, what's the douche Lannister who wanted to marry Rhaenyra in like episode
Tyland?
No, Tyland's the Tyros or something like that. Tyros Lannister. I don't remember. But he was like boasting to her, and he was like, "Yeah, Casterly Rock is like as big as the wall. It's so tall. It could host, a dragon or 2." And that was like him being like, "Oh, if you want to come live with me, you can."
Yeah. So far, the biggest like structure was in Meereen. In Game of Thrones. Yeah, Meereen. The giant pyramid.
They did really good job with how Essos looked in Game of Thrones. Yeah.
I was like, can we get more of all the structures on the that wasn't in Westeros were big? Like in Bravos, the giant statue.
Yeah.
And like the House of Black and White. Like all like very intimate and very different from like what we've seen in Westeros.
Yeah, dude.
But I'm glad we're getting a taste of like the architecture and like how grand everything is.
Well, because
in Westeros.
these castles were built long before Aegon came. So there is in A Song of Ice and Fire, there's kind of an apocalyptic kind of feel, kind of like it's kind of after an apocalypse. Because, thousands of years before there was Bran the Builder. He might have had something to do with it. And maybe there was magic that was
different
made
from
to build
Bran the
these.
Broken.
Yeah, because nowadays the people of Westeros couldn't build Storm's End, like they couldn't do it. It took them all of their willpower
Literally,
to make King's Landing.
It's like that's why I found the world building in Game of Thrones so interesting. In the Song of Ice and Fire, it's all like history has happened, like happened to a degree so much that has divided these houses, made these relationships, and built these friendships and enemies to where it's interesting to see them discuss about what's happened. It's why I love the conversations that every single character have, especially with the events regarding the Baratheon, Robert's Rebellion.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite moments, and it's a feeling that I can't describe why I love it so much, is when Jaime talks about it with Ed. I was standing right here. Everyone's watching. And they describe the moment so vividly and so perfectly that it makes you want to dive into the history so well. That George R. R. Martin just writes these stories and builds these worlds so perfectly that when they talk briefly about it, that you want to know all about it. Dude. It's so great. And
things have happened in this world.
Yeah.
Which is very similar to Lord of the Rings. Things have happened in Lord of the Rings, and they kind of bypass it. And then you get more context about it later, and you're like, "Oh my God, that makes so much sense." Why Jaime recoils every time Ned calls him Kingslayer. You know, it's great.
But we see these things now, like Storm's End is an absolute beauty. And
wonderful.
Yeah, and it's so intimidating when Lucerys like flies. This entire scene is built like a horror movie. Yeah. It's like and it's suspense all the way through.
You could say it's spooky.
Ooh, see, we told
you it was a spooky episode.
Yeah, spooky. Like but
yes, it is like
it's like Jurassic Park. Like literally he lands, it's like
Yeah.
And it's like storming and it's like raining and the clouds are building and then he like walks and you think that the soldiers are like intimidating enough. You're like, oh, they're gonna arrest him or something, or like they're gonna do something because you know we're at a war now almost. Yeah. And then he turns around and like he just lifts his head. Balon lifts his head and you're like, oh my god.
Oh, you mean Vhagar, right?
Vhagar.
Yeah, Vhagar.
Oh, I thought it was Balon.
No, Balerion the Dread was the biggest dragon.
Was
of
the
all
biggest?
time
Okay, but
well. There is something in the books that said Balerion had a gash, saying that he got beaten by something that was bigger than him. So there might have been even bigger dragons. But in terms of what we've seen in Westeros, Balerion was the biggest. He died after Viserys rode him, and then Vhagar is now the biggest.
Vhagar, there you go.
But Vhagar, she is ginormous, bro.
Yeah.
And she was like you look over. And she's like, her head's just like there, and she's like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh no, Aemond is here!" And there's a big and if that was me, I don't care if people call me a wuss or anything. I would have put that dragon in reverse. And I would have been like,
nope. It's like nope.
Yeah.
Beep. Just back up, like
exactly. I would have just been like, "Yeah, Mom, they said no." Or like text Mom, can you pick me up? You know, like
we don't need the Baratheons. Like
exactly,
we don't really need
exactly.
it.
But he wants to say dutiful to his mother, and he respects that they will treat him as a messenger because that's what he is.
Yeah,
you know. And so we see for the first time Boros Baratheon.
Yeah, stubborn and illiterate as ever.
Yeah,
as Baratheons go. Like
he's up there. Yeah,
yeah, it's very funny. But really cool to see like a Baratheon like not king, like, you know. Yeah. Obviously all houses are houses, and
also an evil Baratheon. You know, Stannis does evil things, but a lot of people sympathize with Stannis because he should be next in line for the throne. Yep. A lot of people sympathize with Renly because he's a really good guy. A lot of people sympathize with Bobby B because he never really wanted to be king. But this Baratheon, I got a feeling he's not going to be as sympathetic.
No, especially when he's like so like, oh, my father, like he's like not a man of honor, you know what I mean? Like my father like made that oath, I didn't. So, like I can pick whoever I want. Like, what do you have to offer me? And like,
and he was like, boy, and I was like, oh gosh. And do you see Aemond was already chatting up like his wife over like his betrothed, and he was like, what's up, you know? Yeah. Like imagine you're that girl and you have to date like this, like, well, in the book, she's more than down for it because she's a little bit cuckoo as well. Her name, I think, is like Jane Waters or something. She's a bastard of his. But yeah, so a lot of people think that's who Elizabeth Olsen is going to play next season.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, because she's a big figure in the war. But yeah, and it's crazy how Boros is like, remind me of my oath. Like I was like, I mean, God,
this isn't Rhaenyra's fault, but she should have had some backup plan.
Yeah,
you really sending him to, you know Boris Baratheon, you know who he is, you know how tense the situation is, like. Jace and what's her face, they have it easy. They're going to the easy jobs to go to the nice people who are like, yeah, of course we made that oath, we're gonna be okay. No, but you're going to a Baratheon whose father died, who made that oath where he didn't, to remind him what.
I would have given up Joffrey immediately.
Yeah.
Or I would have just been like, yeah, I'll marry one of your daughters. Like, I would have been. I understand.
You should have at least like get out of the situation easily. Like, we'll discuss it or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
well, but he's also a child. You know, he in the books he's 13.
But
so,
this is good. This goes to show how Rhaenyra has raised her kids. She's, in a word, sheltered them, like closed them off from the world. Like, Alicent's children have been ready for war all their lives.
Yeah, but
whether they like it or not.
But they're also psychopaths.
No, but like it shows you at the dinner scene, even Aegon, as much of a twerp he is, I wouldn't be surprised if he was good in a fight or not. Yeah. Because like how Otto and Alicent has trained them so to be ready a war coming, whether they've started it or not. And they're ready for it, and they have all the plans. Like I've kept them single to marry off whoever allies I need, and then Rhaenyra is like close them off, marry within the family, and now no longer, you know what I mean, taken like no plans like whatsoever to offer to whatever allies will be like, whose side am I going to be on? Yeah, and it's all great, you know what I mean.
I want to talk just a couple of differences in the books. In the books, Luke is also very much like, oh, but what about because they're also kin. The Baratheons are also, they come from the Targaryens. Like the Baratheons was a Targaryen bastard who made his own house Baratheon. But there's also the fact that like she is cousins to Rhaenys, and in the books Luke mentions that, and Boros is like, oh yeah, she's kind of a WHO word, she's I don't really know her, who cares, and so the reason why Aemond isn't going to get him, but apparently in the books, one of Boros's daughters goads him into going after him, and she goes, wow, he cut out your eye. What, did he also cut off your balls? And then that makes him angry, and he chases after him and kills him in the books. But yeah, in this one, he wants an eye for an eye,
Yeah, simple as that.
He
put a sapphire in his eye.
Yeah,
really cool.
Awesome, really cool, right? Yeah.
I like how like it was like you can still see his other eye, but like the shadow like just shows like it's like his other face is in the shadow, and you can just see that blue dot. Yeah, really cool. It's like an anime moment, but it's like done like realistically.
Yeah.
And really
he
cool.
is like an anime villain. Let's be honest.
Like it's like usually in anime, like why does that one eye shine like for no reason? But this one it makes sense. One it does. Like it's really cool.
It does, but yeah.
But they try to fight. He tries to get him to fight. And he's like, not in my house. Yeah. And I was expecting to stop this madness in the name of the king. Like,
oh, yeah. I mean, he does. It got to sound like
he's
that.
like, I don't want bad juju in my house. I already got enough bad luck as it is with this rain.
Yeah,
get out of my house.
He's
and
like, get out.
He's like, escort him out. And then this scene is like also like really slasher film. It's like raining even more now. And you're like, this ain't good. And like, I would have told him like, I would have just ran like immediately. Like, can you just hold him here for like a few seconds while I get my dragon? But he turns to the gate and he doesn't see Vagar. Yeah. And then it's like, oh no.
And it's also like, I didn't realize that like there was a gate, like an open gate there, because Vagar's body covers it, and it's just darkness, and you see how empty it is, and you're like, oh my god, this thing is even bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
Like I think I would have done this if I was Luke. I might have done this differently. I might have been like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna walk.
Or like, you know what? I'm feeling pretty tired. I'm gonna stay here for like an extra day.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay here for the night.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna get a ship. I'm gonna sail away.
Exactly. Or I might have just been like, oh, like, I'm sorry, Vermax. If you die, you die. But I'm gonna like get a hood on. And I'm gonna go into town.
You fly away.
Yeah, you fly over there. I'm gonna go hide over there. Yeah. Like that's what I would have done. But still, we get this awesome shot, and in the books it talks about how Vermax could have probably outran Vagar, but in this one, because of the storm and he's still relatively young, and Vermax and Luke, they haven't had enough time to like bond. It's harder for him to get out of it, and it's easier for the big winged. It's like when a small person's like running against a big person, and then like 5 steps for him is like 2 steps for the big person.
Yeah, it's like a Dane, like outrunning like a Labrador. Like
exactly.
Like the Dane can just like walk and like stride over, and like the Labrador.
Good shot of Vagar
over him.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god, just showing the size difference. In the books, they say 5 times bigger. And then we get this whole shot, and the whole idea of this is that Aemond is just trying to toy with him, maybe take an eye, but not kill him. When you kill him, that is when war starts. Yeah. When you kill him, that is when it begins. And Aemond, he's not the mess up. Aegon is the mess up. He doesn't mess up. He's the guy who takes action, who takes responsibility. So he doesn't want to be the reason for that. He just wants to scare his. But when you take I'm trying to find a good analogy for this. If you take a gun to like a water gun fight, which is basically what he's doing with Vhagar, who conquered all of Westeros alongside Balerion and Aegon and his sister wives, and this dragon who has eaten like 1,000 Dornish people and has set fire to hundreds more. Like,
even if it's a regular big dragon,
yeah,
if you attack it with fire, you think you should just gonna obey and like not do anything?
They're
like,
basically nuclear weapons with like
wings,
or with opinions, like, so it's like it. And it harkens back, and a lot of people had an issue with the scene again, and I completely disagree.
I was like, why can't he control it or something like that? Like,
well,
you know what I mean?
Number one, I think the bond between dragons who like grew up with their rider are better. So I think Visenya, who rode Vhagar originally, I think she would have had a better control on Vhagar, like how Daemon has better control of Caraxes, and
even so. Daenerys had the dragons are not to be messed with. Like
that's what Jorah Mormont says in the show.
That's what Viserys says
in this show.
Yeah, like they're not something that we should have had control over.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the books, even people are like, oh, it only happened in the show. Daenerys couldn't really control Drogon and her other dragon. No, in the books it happens as well.
No,
it's like people just pick out sentences and what they pick and choose.
Drogon eats like innocent children in the books. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. You think like that's what they that's what they choose to ignore.
But yeah, Jorah, like in the books, he says they're dragons, Khaleesi. They can never be tamed, not even by their mother. And then Viserys in this series, he says they're a power we shouldn't have trifled with. And he talks about how they led to the doom of Valyria, which we haven't heard of in the books, but I think that's really interesting. Arax,
right?
Arax.
Arax attacks Vhagar with fire, and then like Vhagar's like, oh, it's Vietnam. I'm back in the war again, and he starts chasing after him. And then like he's like, no, and even Luke is saying, no, Arax, no, like don't. What are you doing? You know
because Arax is scared. So he attacks. So it's like, I love how at first they're talking to them in Valerion, and as they become more and more panicked, they go, no, Vhagar! And like still when Vhagar's chomping him up to little bits, he's like, no, Vhagar, no!
Maybe he's still alive, please spit him out.
He's like, no, stop.
No,
Even though he gets chomped. Like, at least he got a beautiful view, before he died. And I saw this meme that was like, after audience finally got what they wanted, they put up the brightness, but they paid the iron price for it, But that shot of Luke just getting devoured by, and the way he looks over it, he goes like this, like that's gonna help him from like.
But it's just an instant reaction.
It's instinct reaction, yeah. But it's just like, God, man, it is so brutal and scary and crazy. It was so well done.
But it's so brilliant. It's like a jump scare, but the entire scene is like line for line, like the line that I went to. I'm like, oh yeah, it is true. Yeah. It's like, and then the storm broke.
Yep.
And the dragons dance. Luke emerges from the storm and it's clear, and then the war has started.
It's the calm before the storm.
It's like literally like pictured, like framed, all of it is like from the book. Like it's perfect. Yeah. And it's brilliant.
It's really sad because Luke was like, I don't want Driftmark because that means everybody will die, and he tragically dies first. The person who you just didn't think would. And it just makes you think maybe these teenagers shouldn't have dragons.
Maybe no one should.
Maybe no one should have dragons. Exactly.
Maybe we shouldn't have teenagers like involved. You know what I mean? It's just.
And the acting from Aemon was really good, and a lot of people were like, "Why are you making him like not just a one-note anime villain?"
That was my issue too. Is that this entire show, everyone wants the Greens to be like, bad guy. I'm gonna be the cause of all the problems of all the war, and I'm gonna be the only bad qualities of all the characters or whatever. And like, oh, this is stupid that happens because of an accident or something like that. That is not how things go. It's like but this scene was like, it was great, and he flew. You think he lands the dragon in King's Landing? Hey, how'd it go? Oh, I'm gonna go to my room.
Exactly.
It's like good night.
It was like, how'd it go, honey? And it was like,
He's like,
I don't want to talk about it.
He's like looking at his dinner food. He's
Yeah.
like, it's like, what are we having? We're having. I don't know, I'm trying to make a pun or something.
Yeah.
Like,
I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up and he's like, yeah, I meant to kill him. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, it makes sense.
so you wouldn't believe I like get off Vagar for like 1 second, and he goes attacks like
Yeah.
this other
It's crazy.
crazy story
Yeah.
happened. I was drinking and flying like.
Yeah, that face at the end was so like, my mom is gonna be so mad at
She's
me.
gonna take my keys
you know?
away. She's gonna take my dragon
Exactly,
away.
she's gonna take my dragon. Exactly. It's because it was like that look,
It's literally like when you hit a curb like really
Yeah.
bad in your car
And
and
you're like,
everyone
"My
sees it.
mom
You're
is
like,
gonna be
you just turn off
so
the
mad
music
at
and
me."
you're like.
Oh
like-
my god,
like-
it is like that.
it's like-
oh my god, it
like-
is. Yeah. But before we go to the final scene, that scene where Daemon sings to Vermithor, was really nice.
Who's Vermithor?
Vermithor was the dragon who Daemon was singing to.
But who? Who's
Vermithor is a.
Who does he belong to?
So,
Oh.
so there are many dragons right now who don't belong to anybody. So Vermithor, I believe, was ridden by somebody. But even still, there are wild dragons who have never had a
So
a
is
rider.
he singing to him to plan to give him to somebody? or
He's
something?
probably going to give him to his daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or one of the other dragon riders who I can't talk about. But yeah, so there are other, and also this is why it's important, like when Targaryens have bastards, like we saw at the child fighting pit, those bastards can ride dragons. And therefore, one of the major wards of Westeros, the Blackfire Rebellion, is all about a Targaryen bastard who can ride a dragon. And that's literally, or he doesn't ride a dragon. Sorry, the
Guys,
dragons are gone. at that point.
dragons are cool now. I want to
Yeah.
read the Aragon series all over again because
Yeah.
I read it and I was like, yeah, dragons. So, like it's
Dragons.
like dragons, but man,
Um,
this show like really like puts like the danger level on them and
Yeah.
like makes it go to show they're not just cool toys that you can just
Yeah.
mess with. They're really something. That,
And then Rhaenyra's final scene, like it was really nice seeing
was-
Daemon hold her hand and stuff.
it was like the turning point that Daenerys had,
Yeah.
but good.
But good,
Like,
yeah.
and handled well.
And I think, and I genuinely think I really liked the theme. Like you heard her theme, but it was like her going mad, and we still heard the and then it was like the violins were growing, and she turns around and stuff. And this is what I'm saying. And when I talked about earlier, I'm just going to talk about this real quick about the books. The books is a historical anthology from second-hand or third-hand views. They don't know anything about the true drive of these characters. It's not POV like Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
right? So when people say, oh, Rhaenyra in the books wouldn't have done that. And I'm like, how do you know? You don't know. Because in the books, they say that Alicent and Rhaenyra just wanted to have power, right? Which is completely shallow. I think there are only a couple of characters in Game of Thrones who only want power. They usually want power and something else, or they don't want power and it comes to them.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is how Rhaenyra gets there. This was all build up. It's her anime villain backstory.
Yeah.
Like this was all build up to that stuff. There's going to be such amazing moments that I was like, when I saw the first episode, I was like, for those book readers, how is the moment of blood and cheese going to happen? And I'm like, how is that going to happen? But now I can see it. I can see it happening. And she is going to commit some more crimes.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really exciting
But
to
it's
see.
like it's like people are like so hypocritical. Like by the end of this, it's like, oh, way too many time skips. But also at the same time, it's like, oh, it's gonna cut off. We couldn't get the dance of the. You want more scenes to build character, which we already did, but you still
Yeah.
want it to be longer. But apparently we did too many time skips because that is literally what happens, and apparently too many time skips, but yet you wanted to rush to the war actually. But
This is not like Game of Thrones. There were a lot of years of peace, and I bet you those same people, if they stretched it out for longer without those time skips, they would have gone, oh, this is boring. This
Yeah.
is so boring. Yeah, people are going to find things to complain about, and I think that a lot of people just miss the outrage that came with Game of Thrones and the viewership that came with that, and the likes that came with that.
They don't know they have
you
something
know.
good in their hands and they
Yeah.
can't appreciate it. Like
Exactly.
unfortunately,
Exactly.
But great season.
Yeah. Sorry we're talking about this for so long, you guys, but this is the end of Hot D for now.
Yeah.
Until 2 years, and hopefully we'll still be around, and you'll still be around
Yeah.
when we talk about it here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Final thoughts about the series, Edgar, before we move on.
Give it an 8.5 out of 10. I really was a really big surprise. Really enjoyed it. A lot of great writing. I wouldn't say it's a better starter season than Game of Thrones has.
Yeah.
Because they're different books. They're like the fact that they managed to make this historical like book into a great story is fantastic.
Phenomenal.
And all the actors are casted perfectly.
Yes.
It was great. A surprise.
Yeah.
It didn't have like all the, like I said, its only faults is because its story isn't like point of view and like completely written like, oh, I know exactly how this character is because it's exactly described and written like that. But they had to go off so much. I mean, George R. R. Martin helped, but like, they weren't originally written like that.
Yeah.
So the fact that it turned out this great is phenomenal.
Favorite actor? Favorite character?
I like Allison's a lot.
Allison's?
Yeah.
Good. That's a good choice.
Otto and Allison. Otto, it's Otto.
Rhys Ifans.
Oh
yeah,
my god, I love him. Have you seen like Olivia Cook's Instagram? Like the behind it, so great.
Because he's a comedian.
So wholesome. Like they're so great.
It's just so funny that him and Patty Considine, they're comedians. So it's like,
dude, I'm watching
the
World's End that he's in.
that he's
like,
in.
He's like, well, look at that, like mysterious, but
it's
so
funny.
He's hilarious in that movie. And Hot Fuzz, but all these actors are great. I would say like Otto and Allison are my favorites.
Yeah.
I loved Olivia Cook in Ready Player One. That's like when I discovered her, and then I watched Thoroughbreds. She's in that film as well, and then I watched like a season of Bates Motel that she's also in. Great actress. I'm glad. I can't wait to see more.
Favorite
of her.
dragon?
It's Vagar.
It's Vagar. Yeah.
Oh man, that dude is a behemoth, and he is like so intimidating.
Yeah.
But Caraxi
it's a girl, by the way.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's a girl.
Sorry.
Use her pronouns correctly.
No, I'm sorry. Don't cancel me. No, yeah, she is
yeah.
She is queen.
She is the queen. She's the queen of Westeros, especially since. Yeah.
She is a literal atomic bomb.
Yeah.
Like,
and no man can kill her.
I want to see her in action. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Who's your favorite actor?
Viserys. Patty Considine has become one of my favorite actors of all time. The show is a 10 out of 10.
If you haven't seen Hot Fuzz or World's End, I would check it out. He's hilarious.
Oh yeah, he's great. Yeah. But like the show is a 10 out of 10, and if it does like season 2 well, we still haven't seen my favorite character outside of the main books. Kragan Stark is awesome. And I'm so I'm excited to see Winterfell. Will they make it better? Well, if they make it look better,
you described
King's.
You hyped up King's Landing for me. I want not King's Landing. You hyped up Castle
End?
Rock.
Oh, Castle Rock.
Castle Rock for me. I want to see Castle Rock.
Yeah,
now.
you should look at some of the illustrations in the book.
They're
awesome.
The illustrations are trending now. They're just showing up on. They're great.
Oh yeah, dude, it's awesome. And I just loved how this show, the heraldry, we talked about this before. David Benioff and D.B. Weiss were embarrassed that they were making fantasy, but this feels like fantasy, like all the way from the map to the costumes to the different looks of the dragons.
Yeah,
amazing.
One could argue that it kind of worked luckily in their favor because Song of Ice and Fire feels like post-apocalyptic, but it feels like after like a world that no longer exists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why like I'm glad they're making this feel more magical and like fantasy.
It's a time of magic.
Yeah, and
magic in a world of ice and fire comes with dragons.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of dragons right now. Yeah.
So it makes it kind of works out that way, but it's really great.
Yeah, I love all the characters. I think a shout out needs to go to the sea snake. We didn't even talk about him this episode.
Oh yeah. Really great. He pulled up. He's like, I was like, if you like seriously, bro, if you don't side with them, I'm like, bro,
come on,
your wife literally started a war, and for what? And like, and you're not gonna side with them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
and I agree with you. I think his actor did a really good job.
I thought he was gonna die, but he pulled through. Yeah,
Rhaenys is also another good character.
She was. Her job this episode was like giving her the approval eye. Like, you're doing good. Like, you know what I mean?
It's hard not to look past Damon because I think Matt Smith. Like
Damon is the obvious
he's the obvious pick, which makes me not want to pick him.
No, exactly. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Damon might be my favorite character, but
he has my favorite lines too.
I think Viserys has the best actor. If he doesn't get at least nominated for an Emmy, it completely ruins the entire award show. Like, there's no reason to even have it at that point because he's so great.
What other shows? I mean, Bob Odenkirk.
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. Bob
Yeah.
Odenkirk.
But Viserys is not. We talked about this. He's not going to be nominated for leading actor.
I'm gonna make that bet right now. $100.
$100? No,
He's
no,
gonna be
no,
the
no, I don't have $100.
He's
to
leading
bet.
actor, bro.
No.
Like,
anyways, let's move. Let's move on. My favorite actor. My favorite dragon's Caraxes.
Yeah,
lanky-
really, I
lanky-
like his roar. It's
Yeah.
not a roar. It's like a.
Yeah.
It's, no, not like that.
That's what he sounds like.
Like
like
an
that.
editor should just like take his voice
Yeah.
and like put him
Here,
into.
I can do it better. He's like, he does like.
Let's
a
move
little,
on.
you
Let's
know-
go.
No, but I love him. He's like a lanky little noodle.
No, yeah.
I love him. He's great.
Ben, let's get back to anime. Who cares about
Who
this
cares
live
about-
action
yeah,
stuff?
who cares about this live action?
Like, you know,
Gross, get out of here,
Yeah.
Edgar. Let's drop some hot news.
It's hot news. Yeah. Let's see what we got. Not all the news is anime, but we got a lot of anime news.
Yes.
Regardless.
Regardless.
Let's see what I got. I got something else.
God, this is gonna be such a long episode. Let's go.
Crunchyroll increases monthly price in Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and more territories.
Uh-oh.
I know, right?
Ben's gonna mute real quick.
October 31st, the monthly subscription price will increase. As to the it will increase. The price increased from $5.99 in US per month to $7.99, and the premium plan moving from $7.99 to $9.99. In the US, these were the prices that increased. I believe this year, like 2 years ago. But the prices are increasing in other territories and not in the US. So it's happening there too. I don't know if it increased whenever the US prices increased, or if they're just doing it again, or if this is the first time they're doing it. But not really good news. But they're a bigger company. But at the same time, I'm like, they're a bigger company now. Why do they need to increase their prices more?
Yeah.
Take that as you will. They're increasing their prices, Crunchyroll. Yikes.
Big yikes.
Big
yeah.
yikes, to say the least. Sci-fi mystery Tengoku Damakyo. I butchered that name. Heavenly Delusion TV animation adaptation confirmed. The teaser visual was revealed.
Woo.
It will be animated by anime studio Production IG. The manga is by
Love 'em.
Ishiguro Makazaki.
Miyazaki?
No. Ishiguro. No, that's Hayao Miyazaki. Yeah, Hayao
Yeah,
Miyazaki.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And they did in Yet Another Town Moves. The visual just looks really cool, and I look interested. It kind of looks like the main character kind of looks like Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yes. And the girl, her hair kind of looks like Makime's.
Yeah, like literally.
Yeah.
The visual
Looks
just caught my attention, and it looks really cool.
Definitely.
Ben, you got something for me while I try to look for the other
Yes,
stuff?
of course. Crunchyroll's going to be screaming the quintessential quintuplets.
Let's go! I
movie
just
in
saw that
theater.
too!
Yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah.
I'm gonna be buying tickets immediately.
Yeah.
I have two friends of mine.
U.S., Canada, December 2nd. Yeah, why don't you get your two friends and do a review of the
We're
the
gonna
movie.
suit up
Yeah.
and we're gonna go watch
Yeah,
that
you
movie.
got a
like,
quintessential quintuplets tie.
yeah,
don't
bro.
you?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna suit up, wear that tie, and we're gonna watch that movie, dude. I love this series so much.
be great.
I bought all the manga. Such a great series. I thought this movie was taking so long to get out. It released like in July or June, and I'm like, "Yep, we're never gonna get the movie ever." But we're getting it now. So happy. Quintessential Quintuplets fans
I'm
are
excited
celebrating.
for you guys. Look forward to that review.
Yeah. Ben was like-
Edgar's gonna invite some friends on and talk about it.
I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast, but one time Ben, there's like a bunch of series that I always recommend to Ben,
Mm-hmm.
but for some reason he picked up Quintessential Quintuplets, and he's like,
Maybe,
"Should I start
yeah.
reading it?" I'm like, "I want you to read it, but there's a billion other series that I want you to react to, and you're jumping into a series that."
To be honest, I should just put all the series I want to do and do it like a pinwheel and just be like, okay, let's see what happens.
That's what
next,
gets you to
know?
read the but it should
Yeah.
be like Edgar wheel, like
Edgar wheel.
I've heard you should have I should have a Ben wheel and you should have an Edgar wheel.
Yeah, Hunter x Hunter, and then Love is War, and that's it on my wheel.
No, but like
Yeah, yeah.
that is like a series that is like it's like I don't know. I feel like you
Yeah.
wouldn't vibe with it immediately because you need to get into the romance genre
Yeah,
first.
it would be, I feel like, a little bit jarring. But yes, before we move on, if you live in any of these countries, which we actually do have a lot of viewers and listeners from other
Yeah.
countries, so if you're in Italy, it's coming out on October 31st.
Ooh, you are so lucky.
Yeah, early. France, early as well, November 3rd to 4th.
Wow.
But these are only going to be limited screenings,
Yeah.
so make sure you go see it. Spain, November 18th to 19th. Australia and New Zealand, December 1st. United Kingdom and Ireland, December 7th and 8th. Germany is getting it in March 28th. And the Czech Republic, Romania, Poland, and Hungary, they're coming early 2023, so they don't know when that's coming out. But I love that Crunchyroll is doing these dubs for all these different countries. It's awesome. It's really good. But yeah, Love is War is going to end next week, Edgar.
Yeah.
You ready?
Oh
you excited?
no, I'm not ready. But
November 2nd.
yeah. The series will get a cover lead color page on next week's weekly Young Jump. The
Yeah.
magazine will include an interview with the author Akasaka. That's a tongue twister. Also will be published with short 12 pages booklet related to the anime series. I believe that magazine is only like mainly for fashion and like
Yes.
models, but
But it sometimes has some,
some
stuff like
manga.
that.
So I'm glad it's gonna be like at the front of that. And that series, one of the best. I think it's the best romance series that I've seen. I
A
haven't.
lot of people agree with you. Yeah.
It's a fantastic series.
Mhm.
Super hilarious. It's like I want you to get into it, Ben, because I feel like that has like an amazing dub and just a great series, animated and adapted beautifully.
Right.
But it's sad that it's leaving. But we are getting a film, or like an OVA technically, but it's like a really long length, and they're showing it in theaters in Japan. Whether they'll do the same here in the States, we don't know. I hope so we can get that vibe. They'll be adapting the next chapters for that arc in the anime, but the
Right.
manga is ending. Sad about that. When you get to it, we'll talk about it whenever that happens in the future. But yeah,
Simpsons is gonna have a Death Note parody.
I saw this.
you
Yeah,
see that? Yeah.
hilarious, and it's gonna be adapted by who was it? It was something MD Movies.
It's gonna be by DR Movies.
DR Movies. They
It's gonna
collaborated
animate
with
it.
the original series, with Madhouse, whenever the original anime came
If
out.
you didn't know, Simpsons always does something called Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah.
And this is like their, I don't know, like 30th or something. Because
Lisa-
Simpsons has been going.
I'm
on
glad
forever.
Lisa was the one to pick up the Death Note because she's like technically like the smartest one.
Yeah,
of
she's
them all.
the smartest one.
And
yeah.
like the rest of the characters look anime. It looks really, really good. I'm definitely gonna be checking it out because I love Death Note, and I love the series. And I don't know who's playing Ryuk. I can't tell who's that guy. It's probably a character from The Simpsons themselves, but it looks really funny and really cool. I'll be checking it out.
Yeah,
Ben,
it looks so anime.
Yeah,
It's
right?
So crazy.
but it's just weird. Like you hear like Lisa's voice, and the book falls out of the sky.
It's called the Death Tome.
the Death Tome. Yeah.
Yeah.
The book falls out of the sky just like it does in the anime. Ben, this again, we just literally just talked about as a series that I wish we can get into and talk about because it really is a historical like feat in Shonen Jump history. But I'll be checking this out when it comes out. It comes out October 30th, correct?
Yes.
Like the day right before Halloween.
Yeah,
So as of this episode's release, yeah, you saw it. Lucky you. But this is a perfect time for anime fans to see something Halloween related. It'll be on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
What else do we got? Ben, good news. CD Projekt Red has announced that it will remake The Witcher in Unreal Engine 5
Yes, I know,
from
I
the
saw it.
ground up.
I was waiting to send that to you because I was going to talk about it on here. Yeah, from the
Yeah.
ground up.
People were like, why? What's the point? You know what I mean? We got like remakes to begin with, but
Why-
isn't like The Witcher the first game like a really old game, like
Why
13 years
not?
old?
No, it came out in 2003, I think. But it's clanky, it's janky, it's clunky, it's junky. It's really low polygons. It's like, yeah, it's not great. The dialogue isn't good. The story doesn't necessarily make any sense. It's a really crazy game, and it's enjoyable. Don't get me wrong, but it's about 20 hours. And 5 of those hours is kind of getting over how janky and crazy the controls are.
Yeah.
But it's not great. But this is it. like I'm like, yeah, this is what I want. Like I was like, this is great. Remake the first two, and then here's what you do. You make the video games into books so that you can make new Witcher series, which is what they're doing because they're making two, right? Right now, they're doing the remake and then they're making the new game.
Fourth, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be called 4,
but it's the fourth
we'll
installment of the Witcher
yeah,
series.
it's the fourth installment.
Yeah.
But that would be great. Is just to keep Geralt, who is the figurehead of The Witcher, keep him up there.
Unreal Engine 5 is blown up because there was a post. Did you see the post? It was like a first-person shooter game, and it looks like it's real.
Yeah.
Like real. And Unreal Engine is like very impressive.
Unreal Engine is really great. But I'm super duper excited about this. But it's going to be interesting because, like I said, the story in the first Witcher isn't that great. So it's going to be interesting to see how they flesh all of this out. And they're going to be having not young, but a younger Geralt, where he's lost his memory and he doesn't know who Yennefer is at this point, and he thinks he's dating Triss. So
he'll follow the same storyline as the first game, right?
Yes, it will, but it'll probably flesh it out. And what I hope it does is it just gives us The Witcher 1. But The Witcher 3, you see what I mean? Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Yeah. What else we got? The author of Mob Psycho 100 and One Punch Man will start a new original fantasy battle manga series titled Versus in Shonen Series, issue 2023 in November 26th. That's years away from now. The art, however, will be by Azuma Kyoutarou. He did Tenkaichi King of Fighters. Apparently, like they give a small synopsis: 47 heroes selected to fight against the 47 demons of the Demon Lord. This has been the first. This has been one's first original series since in 10 years.
Yeah.
Because for those of you who don't know, like, whoa, what about One Punch Man? It's like getting published now. Like that was a webcomic, and it's all done already. Yeah. All finished completely. So like if you want to know the ending to One Punch Man, you can go check it out on the web.
Yeah.
Like you can check it out online right now.
He's also very involved in the Mob Psycho anime, so that's probably why he's starting to work up pre-production on this, because he's finished basically with
he's finished with Mob Psycho 2 way back then. And like the English releases are just barely coming out, but that doesn't inherently mean he's written it like again, you know what I mean? Yeah. We're getting new One content. So when that comes out, we'll definitely be checking it out because he's an amazing storyteller, whether he's actually illustrating it or not. He's definitely going to be probably drawing those storyboards and like, this is how I want it, like a few scribbles and like god tier like art illustrator. Okay, like just like does it perfectly.
Oh yeah.
But really great. Ben's, you would say one was probably like top 5 mangaka for you. Would one, in terms of a writer at least, one?
Yeah, writer definitely. I mean, his art in Mob is still really good. Like it's not like
you'd still call him a mangaka and still like be top
He's a mangaka.
writer? Like
He's
you know
a
what
manga,
I mean?
but it's not even like, I feel like people they are like so conservative with the word mangaka. For me, mangaka is a manga creator, Like I feel like it needs to be more broadened, just like I think anime and manga is its own genre now. Similar to how superhero movies is its own genre now. It's just gotten so big and so huge that it's its own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's top 5 definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. Ben,
Yes.
Before I sent you. I mean, you sent me.
Yes.
Well, actually, both of us sent each other about the news that the Bayonetta 3 voice actress Helena Taylor, like there was like a whole like
liar.
No, yeah, right. But before that, there's like a whole like controversy because like
we talked about this 2 weeks ago.
No, we just texted to each other.
No, we talked about it on the podcast.
No, we didn't.
No, we did. I remember we did 2 weeks
Ben,
ago.
We just sent it through text.
No, Edgar, we talked about it 2 weeks ago, and we were like, the Bayonetta 3 voice actress, and then we sent each other in text that she was lying.
No, but remember when I only sent it to you in text, and then I said, hey, I'm glad we found this out now before we actually talked about it, because we got the whole story.
Oh, right, because we were going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, that's right.
because it
I'm
came out
going crazy. Woo!
yeah, but the reason why, because we didn't talk about that much in the news last
Yeah.
episode. We only talked about one thing, but we would have talked about the Bayonetta story, but we held it off.
Yes.
And it turns out that she lied. She was actually offered.
Liar.
She was actually offered way more than than she said she would, and I don't know why. I guess she just wanted more money. I think she wanted more money.
Yes.
She wanted more money than she was originally offered, which was
Which, to be honest, I mean, Bayonetta is such a big character now. Like, she's basically, I would say, probably the biggest female Nintendo mascot that's still on right now, other than like a leading mascot, because Peach is obviously, you know, and Zelda is obviously the biggest. But in terms of like characters you play as in the game, she's probably up there. Title characters.
But if you wanted more money, sure, they didn't offer to you, but this is like the wrong. You just completely ruined.
You ruined your career.
Yeah, like
it's over
literally.
for you now.
You're just like a liar, and like now no one's gonna trust you. Won't
it's
offer you
over for
jobs
you now.
anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's done. Done. You were on your side, and now, but this also paints a bad light to like other voice actors who like plead. You know what I mean? It's like the situation of like, they were lying. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's
like,
yeah. I mean, you just look at the Kyle McCarley situation with Mob.
Oh yeah.
And it just makes you be like, well, there's a dub and then there's an L. You know, like you're like, man, some people just have to come in and just ruin it, you know, like ruin a movement. And I think that's just what she's done, which is really sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Vinland Saga trailer came out, Edgar. What'd you think?
Oh, really good.
Really good, right?
Mappa's doing it really close again. I don't know when they announced. I think they did say 2023. I don't know. I don't know when they said when, but now it says January.
Yep.
Attack on Titan, and coming out like at the same time. So like that goes to show like.
We are in the mud, Edgar.
Once again, they also like worked at this at the same time. So like. Mappa haters or like Mappa warriors are sweating like because like of how they'll adapt it, but it looks great so far in the trailers.
Yeah,
I'm accurate to the Wit's style.
Yeah. I mean, the hair looks a little bit more bright, kind of like it kind of looks brighter than what it originally did.
I feel like Wit's style they focus on highlights.
Yeah,
and like you know the shadows like really different.
But there was this one moment where Fenrir and Thorfinn were walking down like a pathway, and I'm gonna be honest, it looked like a painting. Like it looked like it came straight out of the manga. Like I was like, this is gorgeous. And yes, it does. I'm a little bit worried. For those of you, the trailer with like the music and stuff kind of makes it look like it's going to be like a battle epic. It's not that. It is very much a character-driven story in this arc. Farmland Saga is a masterpiece in character writing, so just look forward to that. Makoto Shinkai says Suzumi no Tojimaru anime is going to have a realistic earthquake alarm scene. So if you're in places with earthquakes, don't get scared. It's just in the movie, you know. So don't freak out. I'm really excited for this movie, Edgar. I'm really excited for this movie.
You should watch Wuthering Waves too.
I should. I think we should probably the week before it comes out, we watch it and then we talk about it. Yeah. One Piece Film Red is finishing up and it earned about 17 billion yen. It becomes the 9th of all time. We've doted and talked about One Piece Red in its
Ben, you'll be seeing it soon. I hope you have your ticket spot. I usually buy the tickets between us, so like you probably should get them.
I should probably
soon,
check
so you
this
can
out.
be like right on the money, I
also need to text Asal and Eric. So yeah.
The fact that Eric, who hasn't read or seen One Piece, will be wanting to watch it with you, and I won't. Yeah. I'm like, actually, I just don't want to get spoiled for any. Well, I've been spoiled. Yeah. How relevant?
Don't watch this. Don't watch the movie.
I know the biggest spoiler in that film already. Yeah, so like, is it even like? Nah.
Let's move on. We'll talk about it afterwards. Yeah. Fujimoto, he has a big part in the anime. We've learned that recently, that he's always working. But I think that a lot of these stuff are a little bit I think that what Mappa said here is a little bit how do I say this? Not right. They said he has a big part of it, but the way that they talked about it made me feel like that he's just like most mangakas have, like, however how much he's not like a director on it, like
Or a writer like George R. R. Martin was.
Yeah, like what we see with Takahiko Inoue, who's directing the next movie, for Slam Dunk. So yeah. Tatame Time Machine Blues anime is going to come out in November on Disney Plus. It's made by the same people who made Tatame Galaxy.
Oh we talked about that.
Yeah, and Tatame Galaxy is great. It's actually one of the only animes I watched, and I said, this needs a dub. It's so fast. It's really hard to read. So get on that. And lastly, Edgar, from me, another CD Predar says they're not planning on any more Edge Runners content. They were like, they're not planning on it at all. They're like,
kind of prefer it that way.
Yeah, me too.
Because leave it in a perfect bubble as it is.
Or make something else. I'd love to see, even though Netflix already did a Witcher anime, I would love to see a Witcher anime, but done like right, but good. I think that'd be great.
Trigger is really great at wrenching your heart out and destroying it.
Yeah, they're really good at that, right?
Yeah, they're really good with that. I need to finish Gurren Lagann. I know they did that studio. That's like one of the most like goated mecha anime. But that's a great series that we should both check out whenever we have the time. But Cyberpunk
next week,
Edge Runners.
Yeah, next week, you guys, the news is gonna come back in its full swing. By the way, but with House of the Dragon, it's kind of taken up most of that time.
I have something else, but I just don't want to.
No,
it's a bit.
Tell me.
It's not long.
Give it to me hard.
Oh no,
I mean,
it'll take some time to get into it. It'll take like 15 minutes, but I don't want to take that time today.
Okay.
Let's do it next week.
We'll talk
but it
about
is really
next
interesting.
week.
It's not a surprise, but it's great.
I love surprises.
Football mangaka Blue Lock by Kaneshihiro Mineyuki was recommended by Nomura Yasuke. Recommended. Oh, I'm like butchering this right now. Let's see. What is it? What does it say? Like this headline is completely wrong.
Do you need me to take
No.
Here, let me see.
Yeah, Blue Lock is recommended by the creator mangaka of Aoashi. Creator Yugo Kobayashi.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Aoashi recommended Blue Lock. There you go.
Yeah, Ayashi. I have a lot of friends in that manga and anime. In that anime dub. I got a lot of friends. One of the people who I worked with in the last show I was in, he directs it, and then multiple of the people who I worked in act in it. So yeah, it's really great. It's really
the Blue Lock dub is really good so far. But that's cool to see similar mangakas recommend each other and like get along with each other because they're both different stories going out for different things, but nonetheless they are both great.
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit weird because you would think the mangaka of Aoshi is like because Blue Lock kind of overshadows it. You know, like I don't think and Aoshi is good. It's not Blue Lock, but I mean. It is going for different things, but I do think Aoshi, if it was maybe another year, maybe last year, it probably would have gotten a bigger, like raise of the eyebrow.
Even then, it's like Blue Lock subverts the genre. It's not in high school. It's not like just games between each other. It's like completely different. So it would have stood out regardless whenever it came out. Yeah, but nonetheless, that's nice. Mangakas getting along with each other. That is all the news that we have for today. Before we get into our main, not our main, not the largest topic, but the main, highlight of the show. Let's just quickly talk about a quick catch up with the fall season of anime with the few episodes that we watched. We haven't seen all of them, but we watch what we can, and we want to just talk about it with you nonetheless. Ben, what do you want to get started with first?
Ooh. Wait. What else do we have to talk about?
Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man. Ooh. You talk about Chainsaw Man. I'll talk about My Hero, and then you talk about Blue Lock, if you want to.
Yeah.
You
haven't seen it yet?
And then I'll talk about Mob. Yeah.
Alrighty. Chainsaw Man.
I
had doubts. I mean, nonetheless, I always have doubts and worries for every anime because I always want it to be adapted well.
Yes.
Man, you knocked it out of the park, and you cleared my suspicions with this one because that was amazing. Episode 3 of Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man versus Bat, really good. And and everything leading up to was fantastic. The humor with Makima and Power, and then Power just being Power herself, and then Denji.
I love the meme in the second episode, by the way, of her going up to him and like slapping him and stuff. Like I've seen that so often in the entire stratosphere. Yeah,
really hilarious, and I love how her power is like demonstrated. It's like very like a cool like sound, and like her blood just pours out and just forms into like a hammer to knock Denji out.
Oh yeah, man, it's great.
Really good. And they did like a 180 on me. They didn't adapt panels a certain way I wanted them to, but they adapted panels better than it was in the manga, which is fantastic. And the scene between her backstory with Meowie, Power, and then like the parallel between Denji and Bachita, also fantastic. Really great. Bat was animated beautifully. I thought he was going to be like the biggest, like, ooh, he's going to be like big CG character that they would have to, but he wasn't. All 2D for the most part. At least I didn't notice anything. Fantastic. And then the fight scenes, I was noticing something else. While yes, Chainsaw Man, his head tends to be 3D CG. I looked very carefully, and like a lot of scenes where you think he's 3D CG, he's actually 2D. Like I had to like double check this, and like obviously I don't know if you saw this, Ben, but Mappa like posted like behind the scenes like sketches. I don't know if they did that. Like, here's a fun thing, look of how we made the anime, but it was also like a look. We're tired of you blaming us for 3D CG. This was 2D. Check this out. Which is also funny. They were just using it as credit, but like a lot, they're just using techniques to make Chainsaw Man's head like it looks like 3D, because usually you only get 3D because of a certain lighting. Like it looks too shiny or something like that. But it is 2D, and it is drawn. And it is fantastic. My favorite moment and the best animated moment of favorite of mine was like the final scene where like Bat like blows like on him like a supersonic like sonar thing, and like you can see like Chainsaw Man struggling while everything's getting blown, and he gets like pulverized into the building, and then he stands up and all bloody. Fantastic. And that fight's like, I don't know. I think like halfway done or almost done. I don't know what else happens afterwards. After that, I'm waiting. I'm actually like really looking forward to. I love the first 2 episodes, but like I don't think Chainsaw Man, like looking back on it, it didn't have the strongest episode compared to the lineup of the fall anime season.
Right.
The second one built up upon that, but it did some things that I was like, oh, I don't know if they should have cut that out. But this one, like, I'm all in, 100%.
Sure.
I've already met the manga, and I've already like been hyped for this anime, and everyone is like, it's blown everyone's expectations away. But there were some things that I was questionable on. But this seals the deal for me. I absolutely love it. The voice actors did a great job. If you haven't checked out the dub, it was good. We only got to hear Makima, Pachita, and Denji in the first episode. That was impressive. Denji's voice actor was pretty good. You have anything to say? You heard some clips from that, Ben?
Yeah, I saw some clips. It looks great. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm making videos on it right now, so that's the reason why I haven't seen the third episode. So, yeah, I'm taking my time with it and trying to do a good analysis of it because I think it's a great story.
But go check out the dub for the first episode. Is already out by the time of this release, and so has the third episode. Technically by this time's release, the following episodes haven't came out yet, but go check this out. Chainsaw Man's great. And we move on to the next one, My Hero Academia, with the third. Yes. No, actually, it's the fourth episode. As of recording, we get some more fight between the Nomus, Mirio and Endeavor.
I was so shocked this episode. The animation was crisp and clean the entire way through. I don't think we've seen that since probably Endeavor versus the High End.
I feel like Class 1B, like Ida's moment between like the mud guy was better. It was like the best animation. So I feel like we haven't gotten a moment like that since then.
Yeah, definitely.
But I feel like the best moment in animation was like Shigaraki falling from his tube. That was like the best animation like an entire episode for some reason in a very odd place, but it was like so great. And like, but everything else, the fights were like super like were well animated, and like the voice acting, Mirio was just like absolutely like going at it, and it's like, and it really makes you like, oh, man, I forget how much damage she gets. Like obviously I know she like loses like her arm and her legs get badly damaged, but once again, like you read the manga and you forget a lot of things, but fantastic in the anime. Endeavor coming in to like save the day. and like save her and erase her head helping out as well. Nomu's like Nomu's like much smarter than I thought they were. Like obviously like like they adapted it for the manga, but I completely forgot they had these full blown thoughts and like conversations.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's to show how much they've evolved, because they're thinking and they're making decisions. But it was a really good episode. The shots, I think they did the scene with Hawks and Dobby really well. I thought that was really eerie. I love the close-ups in this episode. And I saw the preview for the next episode. I like the way that they animated Deku. Thank you. Thank you for not making him look like a little chibi baby. Thank you.
I haven't seen that. I don't see the previews for My Hero.
Oh, I do. But I think it looks great. But the Shigaraki waking up, I think, to be honest, I think they did it better than the anime. When he woke up, like it zoomed in on his eye and stuff. It was really cool.
Oh, you mean like the electricity zap thing?
Yeah. And then I didn't think we were gonna get him in that little like kind of dream state world.
Yeah.
Really cool, man. I was just like, yeah, this is, as of right now, this season is the highest rated, deservedly so. Like it's just been banger after banger. And to be honest, if Chainsaw Man, My Hero, and Mob continue the way that it's continuing right now, it's going to be real hard to pick like which one I think will be anime of the season, because they're all been really good. But neither of them have reached their climax yet, so we'll see what happens.
No.
Yeah. So what about Blue Lock, Edgar?
Blue Lock was really great. We get the third episode of Team Z versus, I believe, X. And then we see like I forget what the guy's name was, but he calls himself the King or something like that. It's a guy with the red eyes. Looks really menacing, and the soccer animation was fantastic. And like you can see like Ego like pinning them against each other by like putting the idea like, oh, if you get like whoever wins like advances, but if you get the most points in the losing team, you still get to advance. So like everyone's like only cares about that, and then you get like kindergarten soccer where you just circle around the ball and they don't really there's like no coordination, but like the opposite teams like starts to coordinate with each other, and then like Bachira and like Isagi like, we got to do something, otherwise we won't be able to get a point in. And they do, but they still lose. But the next game, really excited like what we get, and I'm loving all the voice acting and the character interactions. Really great. Other than that, it was a really good episode. We'll move on to Mob Psycho.
Mob, what do you want? It's great. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Mob's chatification was great.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it was so funny. Edgar has seen the 4th episode.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I've read the manga, but it's because I couldn't today. I didn't have time to watch it. I just got back from school. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, I know what happens in the manga, so you can talk about it without spoiling me. But I don't know, because the order of the chapters are all are switched around in the anime, so I don't know what happens. So why don't you talk about it?
No, let's talk about the third episode first, because like we haven't talked about the third episode.
Yeah,
yet.
I mean, yeah, it was really good.
Just like Mob's confidence, realizing that he's like popular.
Yeah.
I mean, it was already happened in the second season. Like, wow, look at Mob's friends, but he just noticed it with girls. Like, oh, I'm popular. Like, with girls, oh, now I'm popular. Like, it makes sense. So it was like hilarious, like seeing like how he reacts to this and like gaining like confidence with his like Chad face. But this was the episode where like I liked Mob. It's like one of the highest, like one of the series that I gave like a really high rating to. But even then, when season 3, I was like, oh yeah, I'm hyped. And then I watched episode 1 and 2. I was still like, yeah, it's good. I mean, I'm not really like, it's not on the hype train yet. In my opinion, like on the first 2 seasons, it always takes a few episodes to get in, and then we get to something really good. But this third episode was like, it's just like all good times around. It was building something great, like it's with the Psycho Helmet religion, and then Dimple's reveal like as like a terrifying what do you call it, impersonation of Mob.
Yeah, it's really scary.
Yeah, but really good. And it shows you like, oh, this is where we're going, because you're thinking, oh, they defeated Claw. What else are we gonna do with? We can't just do another big bad villain from like another organization or like another regular user of what do you call it? What's the power called?
Psychic
powers. Sorry,
yeah.
I was gonna say telekinesis or something.
I
else.
mean, it's kind of the same.
Psychic power is another psychic power user, but it seems like Dimple's gonna be like either a big or like the main antagonist for this final season.
Yeah.
And he's been on Mob's side for the majority of the show, so it's like odd to see like a acquaintance or friend. I don't know if you call Dimple friend because he's always been like I don't want to be here, but here we go, making jokes and whatever. But it's really cool. The 4th episode was just like, what's the blonde hair guy? Not Ritsu.
Haizawa.
Hanizawa. I just sent you a message because he gave Mob bad advice on fashion. Like
was that you that sent me?
Shirt,
was that you that sent me the meme of what's
Walter White?
Walter, where he's like, no, don't let Hanizawa choose. No,
it's like don't let him give you fashion advice. He's awful.
Like Ritsu, speak up, dude. Like, tell your brother, hey man, don't wear that.
Yeah.
You know. I do want that shirt now though.
Oh, the monkey shirt.
Yeah, I want it.
No, but yeah, he goes up to the spirit tree. Is that what they're calling it? The broccoli thing, the spirit tree.
Yes.
And he like confronts Dimple. Like, I feel like I guess Dimple's just now at a state where he can beat even him, you know what I mean? The blonde-haired guy. But he like manages to like brainwash them, and like, you can't fool me, you can't brainwash me, because they're handing out all these candies, all these things that the Psycho Helmet religion are doing is brainwashing the entire town. And he tries to stop him, but he eventually can't. And Dimple's gone at a rate where he's too powerful. And then Mob and Reagan start noticing, so they try to solve. They think it's just like, oh, the roots are bad, you know. So they're like, so we gotta like stop. Like we're gonna lift up the tree and then put it in the ocean.
Oh yeah,
great plan. But they start noticing that everyone's starting to get brainwashed, and then like, you know, things are getting a bit, you know, people are acting, you know, pretty sus, even like their friends. And it was really kind of disheartening, like when the girl, like the photographer girl, realizes, oh yeah, I changed my mind. Yeah, we didn't meet up because like I had something else. They don't need you. The Psycho religion. It, like Mob was like, oh, but I was popular. I guess like they didn't want to chat with me.
Whatever. Yeah. Have you been watching the dub or the sub?
Actually, I picked up on the dub now.
Yeah,
I just got hooked up. I don't know. I just got hooked up.
It's really good.
Yeah. It's unfortunate to what happened with the situation with the dub, but everything else around, other than that, it's still impressionable because I love Reagan's voice actor.
Yeah,
he's absolutely great.
He's great.
And Dimple is doing such a great job.
Yes.
And we've talked about it. Jason,
Liebricht
is doing a great job with Mob.
Yeah.
Really good. Sometimes what I don't notice, like, oh, it's a different voice actor, or he just does a good his own version of Mob, which is really impressive.
Yeah.
And absolutely hilarious. They handled the comedy very well in the dub. But I was watching it. All this is great, but you see Reagan's not betrayal, but his point to where he reveals that he got brainwashed as well.
Oh yeah.
Really cool and sad moment, but it goes to show Mob. I'm pretty sure Mob would have reacted it differently, but he just realizes that Reagan is brainwashed, and then he's like,
I think that happened in the 4th episode.
We're on the 4th episode now because we're talking about the brainwashed people.
Yeah.
But Reagan, like, you know, I don't know if he ate the candy or because the candy was like also like a way of brainwashing, but I guess he must have ate it or some other way. But Mob eventually like dips and like leaves Reagan by himself, and he goes to the broccoli, you know, spirit tree and confronts them. And a really cool moment happens. Like, I guess Dimple has told them that the second bull, what do they call him? Bullhead.
They call him Bicycle Head. They call it Bicycle Helmet Religion.
Bicycle Helmet, like the helmet. There you go. The helmet. There's a second helmet leader coming, and they all welcome Mob with cheers. Even like his crush is there. So like he thought he was gonna come to defeat like a villain, but like this is like what Mob wanted. To be popular. Yeah. For people to like him, and like Dimples is. I'm pretty sure Dimples is gonna try it again. It's like, you have it now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, this is what you wanted. Like, why stop that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like Mob will probably still like want to like resist and like stop Dimple from what he's doing. But it's really good, and it's building up to something great. And I think in terms of like what's coming the next episode, in terms of all the shows that I'm watching, I'm most excited for Mob's episode now, and then second Chainsaw Man, and then My Hero. But it's all great, all fantastic. Spy Family is good. I feel like I'll want to talk about that later once Ben watches an episode or two. But
Yes.
it was hilarious. It was like probably the funniest episode of the season.
Okay.
But it was absolutely great. But other than that, that's pretty much all the stuff that we've caught up with the fall anime season. Now, Ben, time. Spooky time. Officially.
Spooky season.
Yeah.
Spooky season.
Ben, what-
Junji Ito.
Ben told me that we should probably talk about something manga related that was also horror related.
Horror.
Um,
Horror. The horror.
So what do we got in store, Ben?
So we have, well, obviously everybody knows about Junji Ito. Even people who have never read manga or anime know about Junji Ito. I literally see a Facebook post about them. I've seen a Facebook post about them recently, and I was like, I didn't know these people. I didn't know Junji Ito was this popular. But yes, we have his one of his short stories called The Long Dream. We're going to talk about that. Maybe every year we'll talk about a Junji Ito story, and that's how we'll read it. And then we'll be finished with Junji Ito stories when we're 52.
When we're dead, because he's written a lot of short
Yes,
stories, and then
yes.
along with main series too. So
Yeah,
we
he
probably want to
has.
read more. Like I might
We
check.
do.
Yeah.
We maybe next October or some other time we'll do a whole month where we just read some Junji Ito and do all that stuff. But yes, this is The Long Dream. Edgar, is this your first time reading Junji Ito?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Me too as well. I think I might go pick up one of his books on the way home. But yeah, so this is The Long Dream. It's basically about this girl called Mami. And that's spelled with an I, not like a mama, you know.
Yeah.
And she is kind of just like freaking out, you know. She's
Scared of death.
She's bugging a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a short story. It's fairly quick. I'm not one thing that I feel like in anime and manga, they never really horror is never translated that well. The running gag is that horror anime isn't scary, but other anime manage to do horror better than horror anime or manga.
Yes.
Which tends to be the case. And but this guy Junji Ito always stands out because he always handles horror well, not because of the way he draws, but because of the way he deals with situations that are just absolutely terrifying. And this is definitely, one of them. Dreams, really long dreams that feel like forever, but also get increasingly long. And then in the manga, in this short story, we realize that there's another patient that happens to be, admitted into this. That's not exactly a hospital. It's like a specific ward or something like that. Or something. I don't really remember. I don't know. I don't think it was a site ward, but it's like a specific, like it's a hospital or ward that handles like specific people. And there's this one guy admitted into. I don't know what his name is. Do you have his name pulled up?
I do not. I believe we can just call him Death. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
No. I can pull up his name real quick. But yeah, he's this dude who basically has just been like, I believe his name is Mukoto. Yeah, Mukuda. Tetsuro Mukuda. Mukoda or something. Yeah, Mukoda. There you go. Yeah, so his name's Mukoda, and he's been at the hospital for longer than Mami has. And he's also bugging out, but he's bugging in a different way.
Yeah.
He has a lot of long dreams, and he's like, well, this one lasts for a day. And now this one lasts for 2 days. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and then at first when I started reading like the beginning of this story, the short story, I was like, well, it doesn't seem that much of a problem. But then I realized that like I didn't get what was kind of happening. I'm like, yeah, you're having long dreams. You get it. You experience it today. You're experiencing days, and like we kind of all do. Like I had a dream that I was like eating an ice cream in the middle of the day, and then I was like fighting a demon at night, and then I woke up the next day in the dream. But I'm like, oh, like you're literally living out like a month like within this dream. I'm like, that is not good.
Yeah.
And, like it's like Inception. It's like you can spend like any like months in a dream, and like that is like it'll take a toll on your mind. And then I realize, oh, I spent like a few months. I'm like, oh, this is not. It's getting worse and worse by every night.
Yeah,
and, like,
I know.
And it's starting to affect like his speech, the way he talks. Like he's aged a lot. His vocabulary. And then I soon start to realize it's taking a toll on his body as well. He's looking like he's sleeping, but it's not looking well for this guy. Like
He's not having a great time.
No, he's not.
What I really like is that they put him in scenarios that are akin to real life. Like they're not like absolute nightmares.
No,
but,
yeah.
but
He was in a war
Yeah.
in a jungle, and then he was like,
he was studying
and
for
then-
a really long time.
and then he was like in an
Yeah.
office or something like that. Like,
which
you know.
is just like the idea of being stuck in like your dreams and like kind of being aware of it, but also like you're in there for so long that you forget. It's kind of crazy,
Yeah.
you know. Oh,
knowing
man.
that you don't belong and like that isn't the real world is like
Yeah.
terrifying.
Oh yeah.
But eventually, like the revealing panel of what the physical toll is haunting.
Oh yeah.
Really terrifying, and he draws it fairly. Even when you're reading like in the normal like scenes, like when everyone looks okay, it's like something's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the way he draws, like the walls just look very detalic but realistic, but like disturbing at the same time. And then we see like what he looks like when he looks like starts to look like deformed. He looks like his brain is like grew, but like also just
Yeah.
big, and like it's disgusting.
It's gross.
And they slowly they're just not doing it. I mean, it's happening night by night, so they can't really do much. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm like, why aren't you calling like the government or something, like do
Yeah.
something? I mean, that's like you're not supposed. It's a short story, so it's not supposed to go into like this deep long plot. But like I'm like, bro, like tell someone about this. You know, this
I'd
guy.
tell some higher end scientist.
this
be
is-
like,
this
this
is like-
below my pay grade.
This is like
Yeah.
SCP, like containment level, like
Yeah.
deal with this type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But it's really disturbing. And then he is now experiencing years in this. And then we start to realize that he wakes up and he's like, "Mommy, I was like married to her. Like he had a relationship."
Because he saw her before and he had a dream about her. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's like, "What?" Because he
lived an entire life with her in his eyes. Yeah.
and that sucks. And
And we get that final time where he wakes up and he has like those multiple chins and stuff. God, it looks so terrifying.
Yeah.
Man. He's got like those beady little
yeah,
eyes.
that's like me like Monday morning, not wanting to wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this, and then he eventually just
Withers away.
like and he got Thanos away, and like disgustingly, like piece by piece, he just like who knows like how long that last dream was, like probably forever, and it's terrifying. Like the physical toll alone is like terrifying, but the fact that he was living out these dreams forever, like within one night, is terrifying. Like you would not want to sleep at all. Like I just kill myself at that point. Like, you know what I mean?
definitely.
I just like end my life. I just be like the doctor, like this is suffering. You know what I mean?
No, definitely.
And it's like it brings like a fear of like wanting to go to sleep. But Ben, you said you had like trouble sleeping.
Yeah,
at
I
night.
had trouble sleeping last night because I was like, what if I don't wake up? You know?
Yeah.
Or like, what if I, But yeah, it is crazy. But it's also like, then we figure out who the real villain of the short story is, and it's the doctor.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, this is a perfect cure for her because, she's afraid of dying and she can just die and not,
How about you just kill her with a gun or something? Like not like put her through this torment like the same way this guy did. Like because the last panel shows her going through the same physical toll that he did. I'm like, you are the real villain.
Like,
you are,
why would you do that? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but I like this. It felt like it reminded me of the Twilight Zone. Like it has like not only like does it look horror and it like shows like horror in a physical way, but it deals in a scenario that you do not want to experience.
Yeah.
In a dream that lasts forever, and that is absolutely horrifying.
Terrifying, man.
It does make me want to check out more of his stuff and read more of his stories. I love horror, and and sometimes horror manages to sneak in series that aren't exactly horror. Chainsaw Man was a big example that we kept throwing around because there are some panels where like, yikes, that is like, the stuff of nightmares. And Tokyo Ghoul, while it is a very heavy shonen and action series and psychological series, it does have a lot of horror elements to it because you're literally dealing with ghouls that eat human flesh and human blood. And it is, and there are some panels where like, that's horrifying.
No, it is. Yeah.
That's a series that I'd really like you to get into, Ben, because it is a very unique art style that is very like elusive and like very like wavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But it does deal with horror like well in some moments, and then there are some other series that have horror elements as well. But Junji Ito does it perfectly in a few pages. This story was really short, like less than 30, probably about 30. If you guys haven't checked it out, I definitely recommend it. I mean, if you can handle horror well, because I love horror films, so I have a knack for like taking it in and like, all right, I go to sleep, and then people like, and while people can't, you know what I mean? I still get scared nonetheless. I feel like for me, I get more scared of like stuff like roller coasters. I still like going on roller coasters, but like the up climb, like that.
Roller coasters are a no for me.
Like you can't.
No,
like,
I can't. I just can't do it.
So like I asked you before the podcast, but I want to hear like what's your take on horror? Like how do you take it?
I love it if the story is good. So like this, the story was intriguing. It was a page turner, and it makes me nervous and scared. Like if you're making me nervous, but I'm intrigued, that's what I'm interested. If you're making me nervous, but I'm like, this is stupid, why? Like a lot of horror movies are like, let's split up, and I'm like, why? What are you doing? If you make people like stupid like that, then that's what I'm gonna feel. But there are some really, really good written horror movies like Get Out and stuff like that.
The Thing, The Conjuring,
Rosemary's Babies from the 80s. Dude, that was
there's
really
like
good.
countless. I haven't made the list like Doctor Sleep, The Shining. There's like Halloween, Evil Dead 1 and 2, Nightmare on Elm Street, all the classics literally. But there's a lot now like Insidious, and I literally said like Ouija. These are all great horror films, and then there's so many horror that I absolutely love, that I love getting into. So the fact that I found something that is also like, it's like a mesh, like the best of both worlds. I like manga and anime, and I like horror a lot. So like maybe around this time, with all the movies that I'm watching and shows that are horror that I like getting into around the spooky season, I'll probably getting into these stories, a lot more. I would just probably read a few more stories because I like the spooky vibe. I like getting chills.
Spooky.
Yeah. That reminds me, like you say, like you like good stories. I would recommend you like stuff like that isn't exactly horror but has just good story, like Prisoners and Zodiac. Though they're not horror movies, but they have horror
stuff
elements.
like The Shining, and I loved it.
You should watch Doctor Sleep because that's a good, not only a good horror movie by a good director, but it has
Was that Stephen King written?
Yeah.
I read the book. I didn't even say I've read almost. Not all of it because he has so many, but I've read the most prolific of Stephen King's book.
Watch the movie though. Ewan McGregor, Daddy Ewan McGregor.
Oh really? Yeah, dude, that's great.
He plays Danny in the sequel. But he horror, it has a special place in my heart. But it's also like one of those things that feels oversaturated, and that when directors approach it and writers approach it, they could easily mess it up. So you have it's like 1 in 100 that have where you can find a good horror, like in the multitudes that it is. So like I really like it when I find a good horror story that I like. That's pretty much what we got this week.
Yeah. That's pretty much what we got, except we started a new tradition. Every week we have a poll, and we're going to talk about that just a little bit before we leave. Last week our poll was Itodori is the main protagonist of Jujutsu Kaisen, but Gojo and Yuta carry major portions of the story. Which is your favorite protagonist? And with 26 votes, we had Itodori win with 58%, Yuta come in second with 23%, and Gojo come in 19%. Edgar, why don't you talk to us real quick? What do you think is the best?
Yuta all the way, baby, because Yuta is a better protagonist.
Very good, very good.
At least in terms of like this in their starter stories, like season 1, season 2, season 1, Yuji, and like the movie, like Yuta. I'd pick Yuta. I think I got along with him more easily, and I like him better as a character. Yeah. Obviously, I haven't read the manga, so if Yuji gets more progression, obviously that I can tell that it's already happened clearly. But we'll see. I haven't read the manga yet.
In terms of Jujutsu, I do like Yuta a lot, but in terms of Jujutsu Kaisen, I think Itadori is a really good protagonist, so I would go with Itadori. But next week's poll, Atsushi Okubo is one of the greatest mangakas of all time. Which one of his 2-hit series is your favorite, Fire Force or Soul Eater? Let us know in the comments below. You go onto our community tab on YouTube. There you can vote. Thanks for the 26 of you that did. It is just a great way for us to interact. Give us your reasoning in the comments below, and we'll react to it.
Yeah, if I can find a way, I'll see if I can also do it on Spotify. They have a polls option. So if you're listening on Spotify or if you're checking out the podcast, go check on Spotify.
Okay.
I'll see if I can add that pull on there. But why, Ben? Why would you make me between two of my babies, the series that I love so much?
Yeah.
So this could be a tough
Yeah.
one, but nonetheless, we'll see the results next week. We'll catch you on the next episode of
The Manga Monday Show.
Ooh, get scared. Have a
Edgar editing put some spooky
thundering
have a
spooky time,
spooky.
but nonetheless, have a happy Halloween.
Have a happy Halloween, friends.
Bye.